fashion's biggest night. Take a look.
Eileen Goo.
This is what February looked like for 18-year-old freestyle skier Eileen Goo. Golden.
Oh my God, I'm not crying. Definitely not crying.
The American-born teen who grew up in California won not one, not two, but 3 Olympic medals for Team China, honoring her mother's home country on the international stage. The golds in big air and halfpipe make Eileen the youngest freestyle skiing champion in Olympic history and the first freestyle skier to win 3 medals at a single Winter Olympics. She used her podium finishes as a platform to cheer on the next generation of young women in her sport.
It's always been about encouraging girls. It's always been about showing people what's possible.
A mission Eileen has been on since she was in 7th grade.
I encourage you all to step out of your comfort zone to show the boys that girls are just as powerful as they are.
Since Beijing, Eileen's gone from smashing records in historic fashion to becoming a fashion icon, making a name for herself as one of the faces of luxury brands Louis Vuitton and Tiffany's, rocking both on the red carpet at fashion's famous first Monday in May, the Met Gala. Eileen, it's so good to have you in studio. By the way, you really are the whole package. I mean, Savannah and I were just talking about you. You, first of all, an Olympic gold medalist. You're everything in fashion. What did you get on your SATs?
I got a 1580 on my SAT.
Okay, did you study? Do you study all the time? Are you a hard worker, or do things just come easy for you?
I did take every single available online test for the SAT, so I'm not gonna sit back and be like, oh, it was easy. But yeah, it was just standardized tests, and you can study for them.
Well, hard work seems to be your theme. When you got those medals in Beijing, was it a pinch me moment, or was it like lots and lots of practice that happened to work out perfectly on that day?
I think it was both. The really standout moment for me was when I landed that 1620 in big air, which was my first event. And I've always said, you know, my message is about inspiring young girls and inspiring more people to hear about the sport and to use it as a force to create interconnection and cross-cultural communication. And I knew that it was such a big moment and there were so many people watching, and it was my time to live up to that standard that I've set. And so in that sense, I was like, no matter what, there is no failure, because if I don't land, the worst failure is to not try. So I just wanted to try it, and I'd never done it before. I'd never even tried it on airbag or anything, and landed it, got that gold medal, and I was on top of the world.
Well, your mom taught you well. You can tell that she's always supporting you. She's actually here in studio. And you did make a decision to compete for China. And I was just wondering the thought process, because I know that wasn't an easy decision. I know it came with backlash. So tell me about that piece.
Yeah, so for me, it's always been about using sport as a force of communication. And especially in a sport like free skiing, it's so free, it's so personal. You use it and it's creative, there's style. And a lot of people in China had never even heard of it. And so kind of introducing that sport culture to younger girls especially, it changed my life, you know? And so to be able to have that kind of contact with the sport. And now there are 300 million people in China who've gone on snow after the Winter Olympics, and that impact is absolutely insane.
Did you feel like you needed to have a thick skin for what came at you after that?
Absolutely. I mean, people always have their own opinions, but for me, what I try to stick to is I know that there's no wrong or right. There's only intention. And I'm trying to make the world a better place in my own way. And if people disagree with that, that's okay. And I just encourage them to make the world better in their way, right? We can approach this situation from different standpoints. So, yeah, to each their own.
So you're going to Stanford. Is that next on your list?
I'm going to college in the fall, yes.
Oh my God! So you're going to college in the fall. You're a model. You do all that stuff. Are we going to see you at the Olympics again? Is that going to happen, do you think?
Who knows? I mean, honestly, I really love skiing still. It is a very personal and expressive part of me, and I think it makes me who I am. It's taught me resilience. It's taught me that cross-cultural communication. And so in that sense, yeah, I think why not? But yeah, let's see how school goes first.
You are a lovely and delightful person. And again, your mom's here cheering you on. No one's beaming bigger than she is. I don't know if we did get a shot of her, because we did. Oh, good. I just want to make sure that she gets her airtime too. I know she doesn't love to be on camera, but we had to show her. Eileen, thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming to see us. Congrats on all of your success.
Thank you so much, Hoda.
That is an impressive human right there. So great to hear from Eileen. Shout out to her mom, who was with her, who was just so sweet. All right, next up, they're going to be famous. 5 Eva. our raucous visit with the ladies from the Peacock hit next.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Can this still end diplomatically with Vladimir Putin in charge of Russia? Our promise to take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Is that enough? The circus-like stuff that the hearings turned into. This system seems broken. What do we do? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world. Because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. Love it.
Can this still end diplomatically with Vladimir Putin in charge of Russia? Our promise to take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Is that enough? The circus-like stuff that the hearings turned into. This system seems broken. What do we do? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Our world is facing some complex issues. Chuck Todd breaks them down. Every Thursday, a deep dive into a new subject.
Instead of trying to cover a lot of topics in one episode, we're going to focus on one and take a deeper look at how it impacts America.
Exploring and explaining the critical stories that affect our future. Meet the Press Reports. Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. Streaming on NBC News Now and on demand next day on Peacock. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
And welcome back to Popstar Plus. The hit show Girls 5 Eva is back for season 2. We couldn't help but enjoy having the stars with us.
We got the cast of Girls 5 Eva.
The Emmy-nominated Peacock original comedy is back for a new season. It follows a one-hit wonder girl group from the 90s, giving their dreams another shot. Take a look.
Right now, our best play is to cross-pollinate with people who already have a huge following.
Yes.
Who do we know? Is anyone not blocked by Carson Daly?
No.
Is anyone willing to unblock Fred Durst?
No. Absolutely not.
I already like it.
So good.
Come on.
Sorry, Fred Durst. We brought him here. Okay, guys. Sarah Bareilles, Renee Elise Goldsberry, Paula Pell, Busy Phillips. It is so good to see you guys. You know we are your super fans.
We know. And we appreciate that.
This show is so fun. I mean, for it to come back for a second season, Sarah, were you just like, yes?
Oh, I think it was like before we were done filming the first episode of the first season, we were like, please, can we have a season 2? We love each other so much, and it's just, it's such a joy to work on the show.
You know what
truly.
what I forgot that we've not talked about in any interview? What we gave as our crew gift at the wrap of season 1 were those prayer candles, but with our faces on it.
Who are you people?
so that people could just light them to like
pray for season 2.
And
it worked.
Oh my God! The music always makes me laugh so hard. We were talking about the Tiny Butt song. Sarah, do you come up like? I love that. Yeah,
Vanessa Williams singing that.
Yeah. So how do you guys come up with them? You write some of the music, right?
I write very little of the music, but Jeff Richmond and Meredith Scardino is and there's a whole music team, but Jeff Richmond is sort of like the music guru, and Meredith writes a lot of the lyrics.
So can you give us a preview a little bit of what's happening in season 2? Because now you guys are like, you were fake friends in the girl band back in the day.
Yes.
Now you're kind of like, hey, we're actually really going to be friends.
We desperately need each other.
Yeah, we desperately need friends.
So now what happens? Like, where are you on the journey?
And all our filters have fallen off.
Right.
So all the bull is gone. So now we're like, we really look at each other and we're ourselves. So we kind of fall in love with each other again, or for the first time maybe. And then
we're making an album.
Season 2 is album mode.
Yeah.
Yes. So this entire season we have a record deal.
You do?
Yes. A very small label signs us.
Property Records.
It's Property Records.
Property Brothers. Have a record label, and we are desperately trying to be their big horse.
What's your song? Like, do you have a hit? Do you have a single from the album?
Can we have a little taste? How's it go?
Momentum, yeah. It's our moment. We're contenders.
But we can be tender, unstoppable, this ain't toppable.
Courageous, don't care what our age is.
We could keep going.
We could go in.
We could
go
go
more. That is
intense.
And I'm singing in the alto line. Courageous, don't care what our age is. I'm always on the bottom there. You can hear me.
Does Paula just crack everybody up?
Yes.
No, wait. How do you stand it? Like, how do you not break up?
Well, everyone cracks everyone up. That's why it's such
Paula,
a freaking love
but
fest.
Paula, you're kind of by yourself a little bit. Is she not?
She's by herself.
She's
I'm trying to be good because the first time I was on the Today Show for Wine Country, I immediately said a swear word.
You did.
And Tina turned to me and went, "You can't do that."
Now, guys, Savannah's kind of bumming.
Yeah,
Tell them why.
Well, all morning long, let me just set this up for y'all, because you know we're big fans of the show.
Huge.
Us together. And I said, Hoda, we have a season 2. How is it with us loving this show so much? They never asked us for a cameo. We could be like, we could do something, And Hoda's like, yeah. Everybody, she's like, no, totally.
Well,
so then I say to the
feel
ladies
bad.
before the commercial, guys, maybe we could do a cameo. And they say,
I was like, yeah, next year.
Hoda did it. You're by herself. Guys, can you give Hoda some news about female bonding and sticking by your girlfriends?
And sometimes
Hoda, you're the wiki. She went solo. She wikid you.
I didn't think you'd mention it. It's so tiny. It's 20 seconds. So maybe can you guys have us both back on?
Yes, for sure. It's kind of like when you're in high school and a teacher has some special barbecue and only invites some people, and then they're like, "Oh, that was so fun at Mr. Gersh's house."
But then that friend pretends
and then
they
you're
weren't
sitting
at the
there like,
barbecue.
"What was at Mr. Gersh's
So it's actually even more than that.
Hi, Mr. Gersh.
I'm so mad.
You know what? Maybe we could do like a musical. Maybe the girls could be on the show doing a musical performance.
Yes.
I thought we were going to get to sing.
And one of us could go down and you could take our place.
Oh my gosh, yes!
Is that amazing?
Can I take your place?
Yes! I volunteer as tribute. I'll go down.
They're raps.
Okay, they're telling us to rap.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. They said it.
Forever.
All right.
See, we're right on.
Yes.
Rap before I
Wait,
swear.
don't, no.
Renee,
You should be the one that licks at the end.
Oh, yes.
All right. Don't forget, you can stream the brand new season of Girls 5 Eva on Peacock. So good.
Don't watch unless you want to laugh, smile, and feel joy.
feel great.
Okay? But if you want those things, this is your show.
Not exactly sure why those characters have some sort of beef with me, but I'm okay with it. Big fan. Still coming up, Lance Bass shares how much he loves his dog and how much that dog has made Lance's life better.
This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back, friends. This month marks National Pet Month, and we spoke with a guy that I've known for a long, long time now, formerly of NSYNC, my buddy Lance Bass. So he told us how his furry friends have literally shaped his life. Take a look.
Yeah, we do always have little voices for them. They kind of talk like this. Okay, Dad. And then we think Dale has a slight Australian accent just because we have these backstories for them that he secretly wants to be a movie star dog, and he really wants to be Australian, and so we have like little Aussie voices coming out of him. All right, these are my puppies, Chip and Dale, which is very fitting because they're little rascals and they act like Chip and Dale from Disney. And they're mixed breed rescues, so we don't know exactly what they are, but we're assuming they're Chihuahua Terrier, and Dale might even have a little schnauzer in because he's got that beard. But the sweetest dogs ever. The way we got Chip and Dale was definitely different from our other rescues. We weren't really in the market for another dog. We already had one, at the house, and we were fostering others. So these came to us in the most Hollywood way. It's gaggy, but Kate Beckinsale found these dogs, this litter, and rescued them, and she didn't know what to do with them. So she called me and said, I have a litter of dogs, they need help. And so I took them, I gave them to Lisa Vanderpump for her new shelter that wasn't even open yet. So they went and lived there, and all of them got adopted immediately except Chip and Dale. And they were the last two in the litter. I walked into Vanderpump Dogs and just fell in love with them. Like, okay, we'll take them home. We'll find them a good home. We'll foster them until we find them a great home. And they have not left the house yet. It's so weird because when I'm naming dogs, they just come to me easily. Every rescue I've ever had, I've named them kind of on the spot. Chip and Dale, when I saw them at Vanderpump Dogs, all they were doing is, fighting like this, just like a dust ball of just wrestling the whole time. And it reminded me of, Chip and Dale, chipmunks. So immediately was like, it's Chip and Dale, and it just stuck. And they really live up to their names. Well, it's funny because they're twins. My dogs are twins, but they have completely different personalities. The one that's a little smaller, Chip, he's the boss. Like he came, he was number one in the litter, controlled everything. Although he's probably the runt of it too, because he's the smallest of all the dogs, which is probably why he has such an attitude. But definitely he controls the house and puts Dale in his place. Loves attention, just human attention. He just needs it. He'll crawl inside you and cuddle. He gives the best hugs. But if Dale tries to get the hugs, he will usher him away, which is like so mean. So we give Dale his own quality time. But yeah, Chip's the boss and Dale is just a little teddy bear that sometimes feels a little abused by his brother. It'll be very interesting to see how Chip and Dale are with the twins. I'm guessing they're going to be really great because they are fun little gentle dogs and super sweet, but you just never know. And of course, we're going to be very careful at the beginning of introducing them. I hear it's better to bring in maybe the baby blanket first, let them sleep with it one night to get used to the smell, and then just kind of a slow introduction. Let them sniff them a good bit and we'll cuddle a little bit, and then hopefully they'll become the best brother and sister ever. It is so strange how dogs can really pick up on your energy and your mood. And there's several times in the last 4 years that you'll have bad days and some disasters happen in your life, and it's like they just know. And the way that they kind of like curl up to you and kind of give you that look of like, I'm here for you. It always comes at the best time. There's nothing better than a puppy hug. My pets have made my life so much better. I do. There's studies on this saying that, dogs extend your life, and I can feel that. The love that you give and the love that you receive, you can't match it anywhere. It's the only unconditional love you'll ever receive, and it's just a beautiful thing. And, they're there for every life moment. And I'm glad that we get to share that.
Good to see Lance there. That's a great story. He's a great guy, too. Hey, that's going to do it for today's Pop Start Plus. I'm sorry it's over, but tomorrow there's more, so come on back. We're going to be hearing from the star of Jurassic World, the man, Chris Pratt, tomorrow right here on Pop Start Plus. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
If you ask most people, they'd say reaching the NFL would be a career pinnacle, the top of the mountain. But for my guest today, the NFL was just the beginning. As a linebacker who played on 3 pro teams, retiring in 2015, Emmanuel Acho was just getting started. Turns out Emmanuel's calling was off the field, in missionary work, and more recently, social justice. Just under 2 years ago, Emmanuel decided to create and host an online video series of conversations about racism called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. It's since been viewed more than 80 million times and went on to win an Emmy in 2021. And now Emmanuel is setting out to help others find meaning in their lives. Emmanuel, what a pleasure it is to have you on Making Space. I feel like you are our perfect guest because you are somebody who follows a part of you that isn't always your intellect. It isn't always your pro-con list. You go with something that is beyond that. Since you were a kid, let's go back. Since you were a kid and you were making decisions on where to go, what to do, what led you?
I've never been asked that question before. I am led by my convictions. And so when I say conviction, what do you mean? I'm led by some innate inner yearning to move, to act, to go. That's truly what led me. It's my convictions. And so if I ever feel convicted to move in a certain way, a certain direction, that is the manner in which I go. Sometimes it makes no practical sense at all. But I just feel like you have to move by convictions.
I mean, look, when you're a kid, you don't know what the risks are. There are no risks. You jump off the swing, you jump off, you'll realize later that hurt. But you're free because you don't know the risks. It's like someone who's never had their heart broken. They fall in love harder. How did you manage to keep that, even though you've been through disappointments, things that hadn't worked in your life?
What was it? Michael Jordan, who said, like, I missed so many thousands of shots. But nobody necessarily remembers the misses. It's Babe Ruth, who I believe said, your next strikeout only brings you closer to your next home run. I don't try to focus on my failures. The only true failure is in not getting up. The only true failure is in not trying. Hodo, I was thinking about it the other day after I failed at something recently, and I was like, I didn't fail, I fell. And as long as I get up, I win.
I love that. You're the child of immigrants. By the way, I have to let you know that when I was in 3rd grade, I went to school in Ibadan, Nigeria for a year. My dad was a professor there. Yeah, we went to school. Yes, we have such fond memories. It was just a year. As the child of immigrants, and I'm a child of immigrants too, I feel like there's something different that's in us. What did your parents give to you that led you to the man who you are today?
Well, when you travel the world and you see other parts of the world, your mind and the aperture of your understanding is just so opened. What did my parents give me? A certain resiliency. I just learned a different type of resilience. I learned a different type of understanding of how blessed we are in America. You don't really understand the American dream until you realize the nightmare is somewhere else. And I've just lived other countries' nightmares. And so I understand the difference in a dream.
And you've lived the American dream too, boy. Did you feel like this feels like my mountaintop?
You know, I didn't. The NFL was truly amazing. It was amazing. But unless you are in the top 5 percentile, the NFL, it too is scary. The reason I didn't feel like it was my mountaintop, I knew the NFL was a means to an end. Hoda, I like answering questions in story form. I vividly remember fearing I was going to be released every day I was in the NFL. The NFL, you have 53 people on a roster. Essentially, you have 53 employees. I was probably the 47th to the 53rd person on the roster as far as importance. Every Tuesday of an NFL week is when you get paid. So if you are on the roster on Tuesday, you know you are going to receive a check that week. So that means by Monday night, you likely will be released if you are going to be released. I was cut in the NFL 5 times before the age of 25. Imagine being hired at a job out of college, then being transferred across the country from that job, then being fired by your employer who transferred you, and then being rehired and fired and rehired and fired and rehired and fired 5 times, all by the age of 25. So the NFL to me was so taxing. It was so anxiety heavy. The NFL was not a highlight of my life.
Oh, wow. Why did you stay in it as long as you did?
In the NFL, if you play for 4 years, you're vested pension and you have annuity. And so the NFL was practical. I was like, okay, play 4 years, you have all the benefits. As soon as I hit 4 years, I was like, it is time to get out of here.
So it was an easy decision. Simple.
Not at all. Not easy. Why? Because the NFL, it cripples every one of your abilities besides playing sports. That's what nobody tells you. Imagine you graduate with a degree, which, by the way, is already hard if you're trying to make it to the NFL because playing college sports is a full-time job. But imagine graduating with a degree, then whatever degree you graduate with, you have to put on ice for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 years. So all of that knowledge which you have acquired is now gone to waste because you have been sitting here trying to play in the NFL. So transitioning is near impossible because it's all you've ever known. Every August, think about this, for 20 consecutive years, really 17, from when I was 8 years old until I was 25 years old, every August I was wearing a football helmet. Then you wake up one August day and you're not putting a helmet on. It's depressing. It's saddening. You go into dark places.
You talked about how you stayed in the NFL for 4 years so you could get vested, you could get this. You, to me, if I'm listening to you and not knowing anything about you, seem like a very logical guy. I love that your book is called Illogical because it really, there is something beyond a pro-con list in life. What kept you kind of jumping in the deep end, even if you knew the odds were against you?
Our greatest accomplishments in life come on the other side of our logic. So what is keeping me from my destiny? And that's really the way in which I operate. The scariest phrase that can ever be uttered is that's the way we've always done things, or that's the way I've always done things. And I just understand that our greatest accomplishments, my greatest accomplishment, your greatest accomplishment, I guarantee it'll come on the other side of my logic. So how can I be more illogical?
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Can this still end diplomatically with Vladimir Putin in charge of Russia? Our promise to take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Is that enough? The circus-like stuff that the hearings turned into. This system seems broken. What do we do? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
You know what? Our hearts are ready for something like this.
It's a great workout. It's everything you need.
Look who's back together.
Oh, I'm so happy.
That's what it takes to set a record.
So glad to see you.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Well, I love that which you just dovetailed nicely into your uncomfortable conversations with a black man. I mean, this is something that you felt a burning desire to do. People told you it was not a good idea. They said no.
People close to
yes,
me. But this is yes. Imagine you're an athlete and you ask your coach what you should do, and your coach says don't do something. Imagine you are a child and you ask your parent what you should do, and your parent says don't do something. But I had a calling, and what I realized, Hoda, is my calling wasn't a conference call. My calling was my calling, and only I got that calling. Nobody else heard what I heard. And it wasn't audible. It was within my own soul, my own spirit, if you will.
How did you know that this was not something to ignore?
I knew it was not something to ignore because I didn't have the luxury of ignoring it. What lives were going to be lost because of my lack of speech? And I think we all eventually have to ask ourselves that question. And it might not be a literal loss of life like a death, but what dream won't be fulfilled because I'm too afraid to act, because I'm so bound by logic? It might be my own dream. It might be a community that I might change. It might be a family that I might impact. It might be a neighborhood. It might be a city. It might be a religious gathering. But like, who am I costing because of my lack of courage? So many people ask me, Hoda, Emmanuel, how do you find your calling? And after pausing and thinking, I said, your calling will call you. Just pick up. So many people are searching left and right. I don't know what my calling is in life. I don't know what my purpose is in life. I don't know what I'm meant to do. Yo, your calling will call you, and it probably already has. You're just not picking up. My calling literally called me. Matthew McConaughey, he called me from a no-caller ID number after my first episode of Uncomfortable Conversations got 25 million views. I picked up, Acho, McConaughey speaking. I want to have a conversation. I was like, what? Matthew McConaughey? He's like, yeah, I want to have a conversation. I was like, okay, well, we'll record episode 2 in 4 days. True story. I did not want to do another episode of Uncomfortable Conversations because of how big the first one was. McConaughey says, let's record it tomorrow. After McConaughey calls me, I get another call from a no caller ID number. Hi, Emmanuel. Oprah Winfrey speaking. Oprah? Like Oprah? Emmanuel, what is your intention? She asked me.
What'd you say? That's good.
I said, Oprah, my intention is to change the world, and I truly believe I can. All of that to say to those listening, your calling will call you. You just have to make that a logical decision to pick up. My calling was a literal no caller ID calls, but other people's calling will just be that internal yearning and that internal desire to do something that just seems a little crazy.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
News is happening now. Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world. Because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
NBC News, streaming free now.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
You know, they say that when you find your calling, it's like you're riding a wave. Your whole life you swim upstream, and all of a sudden you find the thing that you're supposed to be doing, and suddenly you feel like all of the forces of the universe are taking you in the way you're supposed to be going. You're on this ride. Do you feel like that's what's happening, or are you swimming up?
Man, what's interesting, when you say riding a wave, I think there's an inherent sense of ease that seems like it comes with that. I do believe your calling is what you're made for and your career is what you're paid for. Uncomfortable conversations is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. So I can't say that I'm riding a wave because it's just so incredibly difficult. But your calling is just what you're made to do. But sometimes it is a detour. And uncomfortable conversations was a detour. It was not my destination. Illogical was my destination. Living a life and encouraging people to live their best life, that was my destination. I got my master's degree in sports psychology. So talking about, hey, let's all achieve the dreams we so desperately desire, that was my destination. Hoda, I just had to take a quick detour for the betterment of those around me.
I was reading a book and they were talking about how that in this big field there was one wildflower growing, and that everything on God's earth knows exactly what it is supposed to do without being told or thought out. That wildflower wasn't meant to be famous or popular or make lots of money. That wildflower was meant to bloom in the middle of that field, face the sun, and make us all feel good. That was its purpose. And they said how people were the only thing in God's earth who don't really or have to sort of figure it out or spend our lives trying to be more like this one. I'm going to be like Oprah. I want to be like Denzel. I want to take a page from that. How is it that you were able to find, because it sounds like you have your voice, how did you find it, and how do you think people can find it? Because everyone wants to look like that one, dress like that one, be like that one.
It's in realizing that you have to be yourself because everybody else is already taken. And what I've realized is just I have to be the best version of me. And what you said is so wonderful about the wildflower. I think the problem we all collectively have as humans is we all have this innate desire to want to be like somebody else instead of simply being the best version of ourselves. And that is when I talk about, like, it's just conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom says we should all do X, we should all do Y, we should all do Z. We should all go to high school, then we should all go to college, then we should all get a job, then we should all get married, then we should all have kids, then we should all live in a house behind a white picket fence. And the problem is conventional wisdom is limiting all of us, in my greatest opinion. Conventional wisdom is limiting us from the life that we all deserve to be living. And I just finally said, wait a second. Why am I going to live inside of someone else's box? Why am I going to let insignificant people have such significance in my life?
Clearly, faith is front and center with you. It comes out in almost every single answer that you are giving me. Sometimes it's obvious and sometimes it's subtle, but it's always there. How has your faith played in this journey of yours?
My faith has driven me in this journey, and what I believe is we all have faith. The question is, when you sit down in a chair, you have faith that that chair is going to hold you up. So we are all, to some degree, people of faith. My faith drives me because, one, I understand what I've put on this earth to do, and it's just to touch lives. It's to share the good news. It's to talk about Jesus when I can. But more than that, or not more than that, but in alongside with that, faith can be illogical. Like that's what people don't understand. Like whether it is, think about this for a second. Noah was commissioned by God to build a boat and put every animal on it because there was going to be a flood. Hoda, can you imagine how many people saw Noah building every day saying, bro, what the heck are you doing?
Right,
like you are a fool. Until he looks out of the window and he puts his head up into the sky, and then he feels it between his brows, smack dab. It's the first drop of rain. And the first drop of rain tells him that the flood is coming. And I have a chapter actually titled The First Drop of Rain, because when you've been illogical, when I've been illogical, that first drop of rain is going to hit. And when that first drop of rain hits you, that is when you know the flood is coming. So what was my first drop of rain? That call from Matthew McConaughey. The call from Matthew McConaughey, I hadn't yet written a book. I hadn't yet heard from Oprah. I hadn't yet been a bestseller. I hadn't yet won an Emmy. I hadn't yet done anything besides a video. But when McConaughey called, that was my first drop of rain, and that was the signal that the flood is coming. So when you make that illogical decision, whether it's building a boat, whether it's sitting in front of a camera, whether it's starting a business, as soon as you get that first drop of rain, you know the flood is coming. And my faith literally moves me in life because it is testaments like that.
Wow, that is absolutely beautiful. And I know your book, Illogical, you say that's your calling. Like, that's what you're meant to do. You're meant to help. You're meant to heal. You're meant to encourage and cheerlead. I mean, that's so in your DNA. But there are a bunch of people, many people, and we've all been there ourselves too, if we're not there right now, you're lost. Like, things aren't working for me, and they're trying to figure out how to get up, how to pull up. I know you've got your faith, and you've also got your sports psychology degree. You've got a lot going for you. But how do you speak to someone like that?
Well, the first thing I would do is just encourage them that it's okay to not be okay. Mm-hmm. Like, it's okay to be down for a little bit. The reason a mountain has peaks is because it has valleys. Mm-hmm. If there were no valleys, then everything would just seem like flat and level ground. Mm-hmm. So the valley is actually what dictates the peak. I would also say that your time is coming, but you too have to make your time come. They say luck is when preparation meets opportunity. You can't win the lotto unless you buy a ticket. Mm-hmm. So you can sit there and hope and pray all you want to win the lotto, but you can't win the lottery unless you buy a ticket. So are you buying tickets? I could hope and pray all I want and wish to change the world, but it was sitting down in front of the camera that led to uncomfortable conversations. It took action.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Ukraine and Russia. Could you help me understand what's going on?
So to help make sense of it, we've created a newscast just for them. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Ukraine and Russia. Could you help me understand what's going on?
So to help make sense of it, we've created a newscast just for them. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Now, everyone who I've ever interviewed loves the high moments in life, but that's not obviously where they learn anything. They learn things on their deepest valleys. What was your deepest valley?
My deepest valley? Oh, gosh. Okay. Remember, I was in Philadelphia. I was drafted to the Cleveland Browns in 2012. In 2013, the Philadelphia Eagles, they traded for me. I was now in Philadelphia, but remember I told y'all I was cut 5 times by that organization. One of the final times I got cut, and what people don't realize about the National Football League, when you get cut, they instantly remove your access from the building. You can no longer go into the building for anything from a Gatorade shake to a workout to anything. I lived in Philadelphia. I lived very close to the Rocky Steps, but I still wanted to continue playing. So true story. After I got cut, I believe it was the second to last time, I would have to go to an abandoned field to work out. I showed up one day and the field is covered in nothing but pigeons. I didn't have bags. In football, you need bags about 5 feet long and 1 foot high to just do different drills over. You might need to hop over the bag. You might need to sprint in front of a bag, then backpedal behind another one. Just do different drills. I didn't have bags, so I had to steal street cones, construction orange street cones. So now imagine, I used to be this NFL player on Monday. But on Tuesday, I'm in an abandoned field, shooing pigeons off of the field, stealing construction cones, laying these construction cones on this field that was once overrun by pigeons, and I'm working out by myself, knowing that 20 minutes across town, all of my teammates and my best friends are there. Those were the lowest moments of my life. Man, I kept it up until I got another call, and the Eagles called me back, and they signed me again. But then I broke my thumb, and after I broke my thumb, I'm having surgery, and I knew one of two things. If they had to put pins in my thumb, the Eagles were going to release me. Because if they put pins in my thumb, I could not play because pins protrude from the skin. So you can't put a bandage on it and play with it. If they put screws in my thumb, I could still play because with screws, you could put a club on your hand and still play. So immediately after my surgery operation, I wake up and I look at the doctor and all I ask him is, pins or screws? Because if he says pins, the Eagles were going to release me for the final time. If he says screws, then I am still going to be employed. I wake up still partially sedated and I just say pins or screws, and he says pins. I start weeping. I go to the Eagles facility. The general manager meets me at the front door and he says, "Hey, Emmanuel, coach wants to see you. Bring your playbook." That means you're getting released. With my left hand, I now have to pack up my locker for the final time. I have a huge trash bag with tears down my eyes and my hand casted. And for the final time, I left the Philadelphia Eagles facility. Funny enough, and interestingly enough, for those interested in that story, I lead the book, Illogical. The chapter starts with pins and screws. And so the very first chapter is pins and screws.
I feel like God was busy trying to tell you all along that it was time to say goodbye to football, but you just wouldn't you weren't listening. Remember you said you got to listen? You were like this, not yet. I need pins or screws. I need to get down to the end. I need my 5 times.
It was terrible.
But
truly terrible.
But that does, Emmanuel, bring you to that thing, which, again, I keep going back to, which is how do you know if God's trying to tell you to work harder, which is what you were doing all those 5 times with or how do you know if he's trying to tell you pivot, time to pivot now?
How do you know when it's time? I think when you have exhausted your emotional, your financial, and your spiritual bandwidth, and it's like, you know what? Unless this works, and if this is not blessed, I am going to move on.
You know, just back to your book for a minute, Illogical. What do you hope that people, I know there's a lot of great life lessons in there, and I don't even know where to begin with them, quite frankly, because every time I turned a page, I was like, highlighter, but it's got really good original ideas. But give me a couple that you think that people would like to take away.
Along your illogical journey, so many people are going to tell you what you can't do instead of what you can do. And you are going to need to block out that noise. So do not ever forget your earmuffs. So on your destiny towards being the best version of yourself and living the life of your dreams, you're going to have a might be crazy moment. We already discussed that first drop of rain moment. When you are being illogical, there's going to come a point in time when you have and you experience that first drop of rain, which tells you your success is coming. True story. In 6th grade, I was at my friend's house and we were eating burgers. His older brother walked in and he threw something at the table. My dear friend ran from the table and started hiding behind a chair. I was like, what in God's name is going on? I looked at what his older brother threw at the table and it was simply a ketchup packet. I cracked it open after checking up my friend and I started eating my fries with some ketchup. At that point in time, I learned a valuable lesson that day, Hoda. Don't be afraid of other people's fears.
Ooh.
Don't be
That's
afraid
good.
of other people's fears. And so many of us in life are afraid of other people's fears. Well, I'm not going to start a business because my friend was afraid to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get in a relationship because my homegirl got cheated on. I'm not going to get married because my dad and my mom I've never seen a successful relationship. I can't leave this city. Nobody in my family has ever left Austin, Texas. Why would I leave? I refuse to fly in an airplane because so-and-so is afraid of flying on an air. We're so afraid of other people's fears, not even our own. It's the craziest thing. We're not even afraid of our own fears.
The book is called Illogical. It's by Emmanuel Acho. He's got great conversations. You can find him everywhere. You're making your mark. Look at you. You're blazing your trail. Get out of your way.
Thank you, my friend.
Emmanuel, thank you. It was wonderful talking to you. I enjoyed every second.
Likewise.
Welcome to Today All Day.
All day?
Today, all day.
All day.
This is a long way of
man,
asking
yeah.
who's your favorite character you've ever played.
The unicorn. The unicorn. You gotta have the unicorn.
What is she right there? That's why you're saying all these nice things?
Yeah, she gave me the look. Sorry to disturb your day. Everyone's mad at you, Willie. Better make this fast. I don't want the wrath of Luna.
When I see you, I always think, I wonder what his quote would be.
Give us 6 minutes and we'll ask as many questions as we can.
Welcome to Cold Cuts.
Cold cut, cold cut.
Today, all day.
All day?
All day.
Welcome to Today All Day.
Oh, today all day. Summer's officially here, so get outside, do something fun. Up next, Samadada is sharing the ultimate menu for a perfect picnic party in the park.
This is sort of like playing with Play-Doh, but it tastes good and it's edible. Play-Doh is not edible, I don't think. Play-Doh is edible? Yeah. No. Why? There's no way. I just learned that Play-Doh is edible. Don't eat it though. That's disgusting. Just eat these instead. In the summer months especially, it's really nice to get outside and take advantage of your local parks. And listen, I am your dream picnic guest because I never come without the most important thing, food. So I'm gonna show you how to make 2 of my favorite recipes for your next #picnic party, my easy homemade turmeric hummus, and my favorite spiced chickpea burgers with a delicious red pepper sauce. Some may say it's sacrilegious to make hummus with canned chickpeas, but you know what? Convenience is a gorgeous thing, and you can still get a really delicious result with the canned chickpeas that have been sort of hibernating at the back of your pantry for quite some time. If you're freaked out at all by making hummus at home, just don't be, because you know what? All you need to make it is a blender. So let's start. Starting with my canned chickpeas, adding these straight to the blender. They're so cute. I'm gonna go ahead and add my tahini. You cannot have hummus without tahini. It is like peanut butter and jelly, you know what I mean? So don't forget it. You just simply can't have hummus without it. It makes it nice and earthy and creamy and flavorful. Okay. You've got those really savory flavors from that tahini, from the chickpeas, so now we need a little bit of tartness, and that's where our lemon juice comes in. Just gonna roll the lemon to release some of that juice. Lemon juice going straight in my blender. It's gonna make this hummus really bright and zingy. I will warn you, once you learn how to make this hummus at home, you may never go back to store-bought. I'm sorry, but I'm just not sorry. Perfect. Lemon is done. Now I'm gonna add in my garlic. I like using raw garlic here because it has a really punchy, flavorful taste, and we want all of that flavor in this hummus. Here's where we really spice it up, okay? We're gonna add my 3 favorite spices. I'm adding some cumin. Adding some paprika for a little hint of smoke and spice. And what would this turmeric hummus be without turmeric? It doesn't make sense. So I'm adding my turmeric in. Another reason I wanted to make a turmeric hummus is because of that gorgeous yellow color. So that's really gonna give that hummus that bright pop. It's gonna look really good on your table, I promise. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and some freshly ground black pepper. Now I'm just gonna blend. In order to get this hummus super smooth, we're gonna add a little bit of water, tablespoon by tablespoon, until it reaches our desired consistency. For me, that's very smooth and velvety and luxurious. starting with just a bit. The trick with this hummus to get it super velvety smooth is when you reach your desired consistency, blend it for an extra 3 or 4 more times. That's gonna make it even more smooth. Like, look at that. Oh my God, I cannot wait. Let me just adjust to taste. See if it needs anything. I mean, come on. It's perfect. I'm gonna add the hummus into my bowl. Have you ever seen anything this smooth in your life? No, right? Okay. Now, let me show you how to adorn this hummus. I'm gonna smooth it out. I created a little swoosh so that the olive oil and spices have a little home. Drizzle some olive oil on top. Sprinkling with a little bit of za'atar. If you don't know what za'atar is, it's a Middle Eastern spice blend with sumac, sesame seeds, and another host of spices. It's so good. If you don't have za'atar, don't worry, you can totally omit it, but I think it tastes amazing with it. I'm gonna add a touch of paprika just for a little color. This works as a nice contrast to that bright yellow that the turmeric gives this hummus. I mean, look at how pretty that is, right? But we're not done yet. I have this gorgeous platter of fresh vegetables here, and I'm just gonna cut them and adorn them around my hummus. If you don't feel like slicing your veggies yourself, no worries. You can buy it pre-cut. I've got some time on my hands. I mean, this is art. Monet? Is that you? It's me. I think I made a masterpiece. I'm not trying to be conceited, but like, are we all looking at the same thing here? Doesn't this make you want to be one of my picnic guests? Maybe? So pretty. Need to take a picture. My phone really does eat first. I know that's cliche, but it's true. Oh my God, I was immediately taken aback by how pretty this looked. I cracked myself up. I'm taking like 20,000 pictures. I think 12 would have been fine, but okay. I think I got the shot. Can confidently say I got the shot. I'm gearing up. Okay. This is the most both exciting and tragic part of making hummus, is that part where you ruin the art. But it's okay. This is what it's for. Okay, I'm going in. Did that make you all feel things? Because I just felt really emotional. Okay, ready to taste. It's so good. Something so flavorful paired with a simple, crisp vegetable, just like, these vegetables just got a glow up. Thanks to this hummus, it's art. It's art. No picnic would be complete without a sandwich, so I'm gonna show you how to make my favorite chickpea burger with a red pepper sauce. I'm gonna go grab the ingredients.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire.
And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Our world is facing some complex issues. Chuck Todd breaks them down. Every Thursday, a deep dive into a new subject.
Instead of trying to cover a lot of topics in one episode, we're going to focus on one and take a deeper look at how it impacts America.
Exploring and explaining the critical stories that affect our future. Meet the Press Reports. Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. Streaming on NBC News Now and on demand next day on Peacock.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
To turn your favorite hummus into my red pepper special sauce, first cut 2 peppers in half and de-seed them. Then roast the red peppers at 450 degrees for about 25 minutes. After removing the peppers from the oven, they'll need to be steamed for 10 to 15 minutes. You can do this by inverting a glass bowl over the peppers onto a cutting board. Sealing the peppers creates steam, making it easier for the skins to peel right off. Remove the pepper peels and discard. Yep, they're a little slippery. Roughly chop the red peppers into large pieces. Add 2 cups of your favorite hummus to a high-speed blender. Homemade or store-bought will do just fine. Now, drop in your roasted red peppers. Blend the mixture until it's well combined and super smooth. Now, this special sauce is ready to be spread on anything your heart desires.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
You know what? Our hearts are ready for something like this.
It's a great workout. It's everything you need.
Look who's back together.
Oh, I'm so happy.
That's what it takes to set a record.
So glad to see you.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Ukraine and Russia. Could you help me understand what's going on?
So to help make sense of it, we've created a newscast just for them. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition. We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. Love it.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Having a good veggie burger recipe in your back pocket is sort of like having your best friend on speed dial. It's pretty useful. And I don't know if people are really using speed dial anymore, but you get the point. My chickpea burgers are deliciously spiced, they're super hearty, and they're perfect for when you want something substantial that still happens to be plant-based. First things first, I want this burger to have a lot of complex layers of flavor, so I'm going to saute some onion and garlic to put in it. Just gonna dice my red onion. I'm only using half here. I'm using a red onion here because I really like that it adds that nice sweetness. It's gonna be so good in this veggie burger. Also, aesthetically speaking, I know it's what's on the inside that counts, but aesthetically speaking, these red onions are really pretty. That purpley red, we love it. Red onions are diced. I'm now gonna mince my garlic. Great way to mince garlic. All you're gonna do is take your clove, use the flat edge of your knife, get some of your aggression out, and then start mincing. I'm gonna do this with all of the rest of my cloves. Garlic, it's our friend, okay? You may smell like garlic for 3 days after cooking with it, but it's worth it. It's worth the price you have to pay. You wanna extract all of that garlicky flavor. It's so good. And we're mincing it really finely so that we can get out all of that flavor, all of that aroma, all of that garlic perfume that will plague you for the next 3 days. All right. Now I'm gonna heat my pan and add some olive oil. My oil is shimmering, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add my onions. Got some resistant ones in here. Don't worry, you're gonna become a burger. Something to celebrate. All right. We want these onions to be tender, translucent, starting to brown around the edges. When we get a little bit of that caramelization, it's gonna impart so much flavor onto these burgers. And you might be wondering, why didn't we add the garlic with the onions? But we can't do that because the garlic takes a lot less time to cook, so if we added with the onions, it would burn, and that's not cute. My onions look perfect. They're nice and golden brown around the edges. They're tender, translucent, which means it's time for the garlic. Okay. Doesn't need too much time to become a little brown, about 2 minutes. Don't forget, and I'm reminding you here, to season with salt and pepper. Flavor is our friend. We always want more of it. Okay, this looks amazing. The garlic is nice and golden. It's got some color. I'm gonna set this aside to cool and then get to work on the base of my burger. For the base of this burger, I'm starting with some cashews. I know that sounds crazy, but cashews are buttery and delicious. They really allow this veggie burger to be hearty and meaty without any actual meat. So I'm gonna add that into my food processor. I'm using raw cashews here, unsalted, completely raw. This is important. All I'm gonna do is process these cashews into a nice fine powder, kind of like a flour. Looks pretty good. All right, this looks perfect. Let me just show you the texture real quick. It's sort of like this nice flour, you can see. It's gonna be a really hearty base for this burger. Okay, cashews are done. Now we're gonna move on to the rest of my ingredients. Now I'm gonna add some flaxseed meal. This is gonna be really great as a binder for these burgers. It's sort of like a vegan replacement for an egg. Okay, looking cozy in there. And because I can't live my life without any spice, it just simply is not possible, I'm gonna add my spices. Starting with a little paprika. And just know, these spices aren't gonna make it spicy, right? It's gonna be flavorful, it's gonna add a lot of body and taste. That's what we like. A little bit of turmeric. some cumin, and finally some coriander. This is a chickpea burger, so we gotta add our chickpeas. These are just drained. And now we're gonna process. It's okay if this mixture isn't fully pulverized. It's kind of nice to have a little bit of that chickpea texture, so don't sweat it if you've got a little chickpea hanging out in there. Now I'm just gonna add some olive oil, and then remember my onions and garlic from earlier? These are going in there as well. A little olive oil. And then my onions and garlic. Perfect. Okay, you probably guessed this, but we're gonna process one more time. My mixture is looking amazing. Gonna transfer it to a bowl. Just transferred my patty mixture into my bowl, and you'll notice it's kind of thick and sticky, which is great because then we'll be able to form it into patties really nicely. Because I want this to have a little bit of zest, a little bit of something herby, I'm just gonna add some cilantro in here. You can totally use parsley if cilantro freaks you out, I won't judge you. I'm just gonna roughly tear them. I like those big pieces of herbs, but if you want it smaller, you can totally chop it. Okay. Mix that in. And now we're ready to form them into patties. A couple things I want to do before I form these into patties. First, remove all my rings, because I wear like 12,000. And now I'm going to oil my hands just to make sure that nothing sticks to them. Just a little on here, just a little. Using extra virgin olive oil. I think you're moisturizing your hands, but you're really just prepping to make your burgers. Okay, here we go. It's very fun, very therapeutic, and look how well this sticks together. So I'm gonna form these into like a little ball at first, and then I'll flatten them out into patties. You can really make these as big or as small as you'd like. I'm going for like a major burger situation, but you can also make little small burgers as well if you want little bite-sized snacks, if you want to throw them on a salad. They're very versatile. See how virtually nothing is sticking to my hands? We can thank the extra virgin olive oil for that. You've got a lot of really hearty elements in this burger, the cashews, the chickpeas. It allows it to stick together, but also allows you to feel really satiated. It's really delicious and just a really great way to eat a veggie burger that's exciting. I'm gonna put these in the oven at 375 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. Make sure you flip them once halfway through baking. And if you don't wanna eat them now, don't worry, you can freeze them for another day. They're perfect for meal prep.
NBC News, streaming free now.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world, because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright. You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. Love it.
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And
and this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
I mean, is this a joke? Look at this. That crisp golden exterior? It looks so beautiful. If you did want it to be a little more crisp on the outside, feel free to sear them. But to me, this looks perfect. It's time to assemble my burger. I'm very excited. I've got my bun, got my tomatoes, my lettuce, and I have a little red pepper special sauce to go in the burger as well. So I'm gonna go for it. Got my bun. I like a lot of sauce, so I'm gonna go ahead and be generous here. This is gonna add more flavor, a little bite, and some nice color too. I'm gonna spread both sides of the burger, both buns, here as well. The red pepper sauce is like tangy, a little sweet. These are roasted red peppers. Okay. Now for my star, go ahead and add one of my burgers. Straight onto my bun. It's like it was meant to be there. It's almost upsetting how perfect it looks on that burger bun. Okay. Gonna add a little fresh tomato. And some lettuce for some greens in my life. Okay, time for that other bun. I mean, come on, look at that. Doesn't that look good? Look at the colors. I gotta take a picture. Doesn't it look good? Okay. Oh my God, look at that. All of those layers of flavor. That looks really good. Okay, is it time? I'm nervous I'm not gonna eat this in a cute way at all, but I guess it really doesn't matter. Okay, here I go. I'm gonna go from this side. This seems more approachable to me. Okay, here we go. I mean, this chickpea burger is so well spiced, so well seasoned. I think I need another bite. It seems like I must take another bite. Okay. It's just simply not right. It's simply not right how good it is. That red pepper special sauce though, ties everything together. See, this is why I'm everyone's favorite picnic guest. I do stuff like this, and then they always invite me again. You can be that person too. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. Okay, I'm going in. Someone has to stop me. Someone has to stop me. I'm gonna keep eating this. No one's gonna stop me? Okay. All right. Going to Central Park is one of my favorite things to do in New York. It's the perfect place for a picnic party. I invited my sister and my best friend for a little afternoon lunch. Hey! Come on. Okay guys, look at my crudité prata. Yeah, I'm eyeballing it. I cannot live my life without hummus, and I love bringing it to a picnic because it's easy to pack and snack on. We love a fresh veg.
And a
yeah, hummus is so good. What do you think?
Hummus is so good.
My chickpea burger is one of my favorite plant-based meals. It's hearty and comforting, plus it's great hot or room temp.
Get some
Oh, I like that you're taking photos. That makes me happy. Are you contemplating? Okay, cheers. 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 It looks like Shake Shack, honestly. It looks like Shake Shack. It's nice. Okay. Doesn't it? This looks fake. It's like a Krabby Patty. There's nothing I love more than sharing my food with the people that I love, and a picnic is a great place to do it. Let's do it. Okay.
How people treat their elderly neighbors says a lot about community. And Craig, you've got a really cool story. A New Jersey town that really leapt into action when a beloved member of the greatest generation was faced with sudden tragedy.
His name's Paul Roberts, SG. Paul Roberts is a fixture on New Jersey's Long Beach Island. The World War II veteran had been living there for decades when a fire recently tore through his home. When word of that fire spread, his neighbors stepped up. A tattered American flag flies above what's left of Paul Roberts' house in Ship Bottom, New Jersey. The World War II veteran didn't expect to be homeless at the age of 94. But on the night of March 26th, an accidental fire sent flames racing through the rooms.
And I stepped down the back step, and I remember I stopped.
Paul managed to crawl out the back door.
You got out of that burning house with just your underwear on. But you got out.
I was hoping nobody would see me in the middle of the street there.
Somehow, he was able to laugh. His furniture, his family photos, almost everything he had are a charred mess. We talked to him in his garage, among his last remaining possessions.
It took everything I owned. That's hard.
Paul has seen desolation on a much greater scale. After World War II, he was among the Marines sent to Nagasaki as part of the occupation force.
You were there after the bomb.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, there was nothing. No houses, a couple of cement walls were sticking up, but that's about the size of it.
Paul's daughter, Pat, and other family have worked round the clock to help since the fire. And they're not alone. Paul has made a lot of friends since he moved to the Jersey Shore nearly 40 years ago. Among them, the retired firefighter who lives across the street, Rich Obermeyer.
Before the fire, what was the layout here?
This was Paul's living room. That's his chair. He'd sit there every day.
Rich had a hard time telling his daughter, Erin, about the fire. She and Paul became close during the pandemic when the college student and elderly neighbor kept each other company.
I love Paul. I tell all my friends about him. I'm like, hey, my friend, my 94-year-old friend. And once I came and saw Paul, first thing I said to him, I was like, Paul, I'm so sorry. He said, not as sorry as I am. Who do you know that their house burns down and they laugh about it?
Erin and Rich decided to help, launching a GoFundMe page, which has taken in more than $137,000 in donations and counting.
And most are from folks you don't know.
Yeah.
Strangers.
Random people.
It's so amazing reading the comments. Thank you for serving the country. There's Marines from all over the country. $10, $25.
Yeah.
Paul, who prefers to live on his own, was able to move into a small apartment not far from his house. He's thinking about rebuilding, but isn't sure if he can afford to. Paul's been dealt a tough hand, but he knows there are more cards in the deck.
Paul, you don't seem like someone who's lost everything in a fire. You don't seem sad.
It's been 3 weeks. You either live with it or you don't. What are you going to do? You can't be moping around forever, you know?
For someone with next to nothing, he's just grateful for what he does have, the support of friends and family.
I always thought I had lived a charmed life. I must have had a guardian angel.
It's pretty clear he has a few. He's got a lot of friends out there.
Wow, cool story.
The local fire marshal, by the way, says that the cause of the fire is this phenomenon that happens when wood in a house dries out after decades of being exposed to the heating system. Paul's daughter says at this point they're still trying to sort out what the insurance is going to cover. But it's, you know, real estate out there has become very expensive, and so rebuilding the house is very expensive, and he's 94.
Yeah.
So they're still trying to
And
figure
with
it out.
supply chain issues too,
Right.
a lot of it takes a lot of time.
Right.
But what wonderful neighbors,
And,
you know.
and just the dynamic between Paul and like the 20-something-year-old.
Yeah.
Like you should see the two of them together. It's like they've been friends both their entire lives.
I love that. It's inspiring. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. I love it.
We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world. Because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
NBC News, streaming free now.
Can this still end diplomatically with Vladimir Putin in charge of Russia? Our promise to take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Is that enough? The circus-like stuff that the hearings turned into. This system seems broken. What do we do? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. I love it.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. I love it.
This morning, we have a special story for you. A brother-sister team from Richmond, Virginia, spreading joy, laughter, and knowledge about the disorder that affects more than 70 million people worldwide.
Their popular TikTok videos are a glimpse into life with autism. They've racked up tens of millions of views. We're going to talk to them in just a moment. There they are, but first, their inspiring story.
You were stranded on a desert island. What 3 things would you bring with you?
Hot sauce. You can never go wrong with hot sauce.
Hot sauce lover, sports fanatic, and Taco Bell enthusiast, 28-year-old Ryan McGuire is a star on TikTok.
You went to Taco Bell without me?
Did you want to go?
Yeah, I wanted to go.
It's too late now.
Ryan was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at 3 years old. His 25-year-old sister Brittany, known on TikTok as Taco Bell Queen, started sharing lighthearted videos of her brother she calls Rye Guy just a few years ago.
How do I look?
Her first post went viral overnight.
What happened to your face?
You don't like it?
No.
Well, that's hurtful.
Brittany continued to share more videos of Ryan, fans quickly falling in love with her brother's brutal honesty, quick wit, and joyful reactions.
Ooh, the white New York Knicks socks.
What started as simple fun quickly turned into a platform to spread autism awareness. Now, over 3 million followers cheer on the McGuire siblings. Hoping to help other families, Brittany has been open about what it was like growing up with an autistic brother.
One of the questions that I get a lot is, have Ryan and I always been close? The answer is no. Honestly, not.
Brittany struggled to understand Ryan's disorder. Like many with autism, Ryan deals with communication challenges and anxiety.
There would just be some moments where I would just break down in tears because I did not know how to relate to him. I didn't know how to talk to him.
But the videos became a life-changing gift for the siblings. Those fun recordings helped forge an incredible bond.
I feel like TikTok has tremendously improved our relationship. I love being around him. I am blessed to be his sister. He lights up every single room that he walks into.
Lighting up rooms and spreading a message of acceptance.
Here's one thing y'all need to remember about autism, okay? Listen carefully. Autism is not an illness. Autism is how the brain functions.
You're different, but you're not less.
That's correct. Now you need to post that on TikTok.
Spread that message.
Yes.
And we're so happy to help him do it. The dynamic duo,
Yes.
Brittany and Ryan McGuire. Good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning.
You're on the Today Show.
Yes, we are. We are.
It's so exciting. Brittany, I mean, could you have imagined how this would take off, this little video with your brother making fun of your face mask? Became a sensation.
Honestly, no, but it's been such a rewarding experience, and it's been beautiful for the both of us, and we're just so blessed to have what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good time.
It was a real good time.
It still is.
Ryan, you walked in our studio and you lit the place up. You were just sunshine. So I can only imagine when people see you on the street now with your 3.4 million followers.
3.4 million.
Is that crazy? So what do they say when they see you?
Well, when they very first see me, it's like, whoa, you're that right guy from TikTok. Whoa, aren't you that right guy from TikTok? I'm like, it's like, it blows my mind.
What do
you like it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
What do you say? What do you say back?
I go, yes, I am. I sure am.
It seems like you're comfortable being in public and you talk about anxiety. Has TikTok changed the way you feel?
It really has, and it really has eased my anxiety level.
Yeah.
Like the social aspect of it, right?
Kind
of stepping out of your comfort zone a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's like I'm stepping out of my comfort zone and into the fire.
I like that.
Into the fire. The water's warm. Everyone loves you. You're a sensation. What has it meant for this relationship?
It's meant everything, honestly, because, when kind of like in the beginning of the video, when we were kids, it was really hard for me to kind of process and understand when I'm trying to really learn who I am too. So, TikTok brought us together because it gave us a way to bond and to find something that we both enjoy, like having in common and everything, because he's a big sports guy and he knows a lot more than I do.
It helped us bond more.
Absolutely. It helped me get a better understanding.
Ryan, what do you think people learn about autism when they see these videos?
Well, what they learn is they learn what autism is, and they learn what
How you want to be treated.
how I want to be treated.
Absolutely.
How autism needs to be treated.
Absolutely.
You said you're a huge sports fan.
Yeah.
What's your number one favorite, basketball team?
The Knicks.
It is?
It is
You like
the Knicks.
Oh, well,
Love
you know
the
what?
Knicks.
Can I tell you? I think the Knicks love you because look what they left.
What do they leave?
They left a little
Oh.
bag. Would you open that and just see what's in there?
Sure. Oh, wow, New York forever.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can hold it.
Sure. What?
Oh,
What's
jersey.
this?
Whose jersey is that?
My boy Derrick Rose.
Oh, turn it around. Derrick Rose.
Is Derrick Rose your favorite?
Yes.
Wait, I think he might have signed it there too.
Dude,
He signed
Wait
it.
a little bit. Put it down a little bit.
Wait,
Look at that.
can I tell you something else?
What? What's that?
Ryan, Derek, I
about
feel
it?
like he might know you. Take a look at the monitors and hear what he has to say.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? It's D Rose. I've been watching your TikTok videos from afar, and I love them. Thanks for being a fan. On behalf of the Garden of Dreams Foundation, we would like to invite you and your family to the Knicks and Nets game tonight. Make sure you wear the jersey and don't forget, be safe.
Dude.
Are you busy tonight? Can you go to the Knicks game?
Oh yeah, I'm going.
What do you think?
Hey, I love it. Love it.
Derrick Rose.
That was my boy. Yeah.
Favorite player.
Yep.
So you're going to wear that jersey. You're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be in the stands. Will you take a picture for us so we can see?
Oh yeah, I'll take a pic.
Do a TikTok.
Do-
Better
do-
yet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh,
Wow.
this is awesome. And I know, Brittany, you're a big Mavericks fan
Yeah.
because Ryan told you.
Ryan told
He
me I
made
was.
you.
Yes, yes.
Does she love the Mavericks?
She loves them. She loves them.
Wow. We want to thank the Knicks again for the little swag bag and also for the invite for you. Y'all have a great time at the game, and thanks for
Thank
the
you.
message you're spreading. It's
Thank
more than
you.
all this. We really appreciate it. And we want to mention too, Brittany, you wrote a beautiful essay about your relationship. We encourage everyone to read it. It's on today.com.
We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world. Because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
NBC News, streaming free now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Okay, having a dad who's broken a few Guinness World Records has got to be pretty cool. Even cooler if you get to go along for the ride.
I still really can't even get my head around this story, but please meet Chad Kemple. He earned his first 2 records, pushing his quintuplets through a 10K and a marathon. It started as a way to celebrate their first birthday and how far they'd come as a family.
Okay, 3 years later, with the kids now older and heavier, Chad recently completed his 3rd race, a half marathon, while holding a sign that read, "Anything is possible." We're going to meet Chad's wife and kids in a moment, but first, Chad joins us with more on the touching inspiration behind his mission to break another world record.
Oh, look, the gang's all
The
there.
gang's all together.
I love it.
Hi, Chad, how are you?
We're all doing well.
Okay, you got to talk to us about this because Savannah and I are blown away. 240 pounds of toddler is a lot. We each have 2, and we can barely
Can't
push
even
them
imagine.
up. Just give us a little bit of a feeling of what it's like to run and push those kids.
Well, I don't want to downplay, just raising kids alone with all you moms. So that's the biggest feat right there. But pushing the stroller, it's it's a lot more challenging than it was 4 years ago when I first did these. So pushing them now, like I'm getting a little bit older. Kids are getting heavier and taller, so it was pretty difficult.
But I mean, I gotta tell you, I have so many logistical questions. I mean, just throwing your kids in the back of the Honda to go to like Target is a feat in our family.
Yeah.
Did you bring snacks? What about this? I'm thirsty. I gotta go potty. Da 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 da. How did you manage all that for a long run like that?
So it takes a lot of prep for the whole thing, even to get to the event. You're right. So it's all planned out, and like I gotta have to have backup plan after backup plan. As you can imagine, there's bribes. Everything comes out in play during the event. But basically, they love the stroller. So number one, that's the biggest help. They love the stroller and they love being outside. So that's really helpful, especially now that they're older and they know what's going on. And then you got to start with the simpler snacks. You start with the crackers and things like that. And if things start to go wrong or they start to get disinterested, then you bring out the candy and the gummy bears and ice cream after the race, all that kind of stuff.
All while running a marathon.
All of it, yeah. I was going to say, and for hours and hours, you got to have something else to do besides just have snacks. I don't know how y'all are doing it. Amy, we got to talk to you because, I mean, this is pretty incredible. But all of this, although it's remarkable, it comes from a kind of a bittersweet place.
I don't know if you heard the question.
I couldn't quite hear it. I'm sorry.
I think we were just asking about, the reason. There's a really actual, pretty deep and profound reason that Chad does this, Amy, if you want to share that.
The reason that he does it?
Yeah.
He's been athletic since I've known him, and I know he loves running. And ever since we decided to start having a family, we always talked about wanting to have our kids grow up knowing health and knowing a healthy lifestyle and being active and all that comes along with that. And so we're just trying to set a good example for our kids, and they already are interested in running themselves. And they say, we want to go. So it was it's come natural for our kids, so we're glad about that.
Chad, why do you keep doing it? You already did it. Like, good for you, but you keep doing it.
You said I already did it?
Yeah, I said I just wondered why you continue to do it. You've done it, you accomplished it, it was amazing, but you keep going for one more bite at the apple. This is hilarious.
I think that's it. You know, so I was trying to do all three of them when they were 1 year old, and then the pandemic hit and it closed down all the races. So I wanted to get out and finish this last one, and I was like, do I do it? Amy, of course, cheered me on, and we said, what the heck, let's go out there and try it. And the kids, at that point, they're begging for it. Dad, let's go do another record. And they know what it all is. So how am I going to turn that down, you know?
They were yelling, run faster.
Run faster.
Daddy.
Is that your medal? Is your daughter holding your medal behind you?
Yes, there we go.
Oh,
Come on.
Oh, wow.
I know it's kind of chaos there. You got 7 kids. It's just amazing that you heard us speak at all. I just want to mention that one of the reasons Chad does it was because he wanted to honor his wife, Amy, who carried those 5 quintuplets in their whole journey, which you can read more about. But it's just great to have you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you for talking to us.
All right.
Can you imagine?
Say bye, guys.
Bye, guys. See you later.
Look at that. Now imagine running.
No.
Running up a hill with 240 pounds of toddler.
I pushed 2 kids just through Central Park, and I was huffing. That's amazing.
Me
amazing.
too. They're incredible. You can read
Right.
about their whole journey. It's really touching. Go to today.com.
This is a nerve-wracking time of year for high school seniors because it's college acceptance season, and that's when they find out what schools they may be heading to in the fall.
Okay, but young woman from Atlanta, she's not freaking out. She's riding a remarkable wave right now. Mackenzie Thompson has been accepted to 49 colleges. She's also received more than $1.3 million in scholarship offers.
Mackenzie, she joins us now from our high school. First of all, 49 yeses. I mean, how come you decided you wanted to apply to so many schools in the first place?
Actually, I didn't know that I was going to apply to so many schools, but once I got the opportunity to go to college fairs and get fee waivers from the different schools, I took advantage of that opportunity.
Well, Mackenzie, you're amazing. As I understand it, you applied to 51 schools, 1 you're still waiting on, and only 1 turned you down. And by the way, they're on line 1 saying, we were wrong. Please, Mackenzie, come back. But why do you think your application stood out? What do you think was special about you? You're allowed to toot your own horn.
I think that my application stood out because of my extracurricular activities and how involved I am in school, from being my senior class president to the co-captain of the dance team to a varsity baseball manager to vice president of Beta Club to members of all the National Honor Societies. So I think my extracurriculars really show them how well-rounded I am.
Mackenzie, what's in the water at your house? Tell me, we need to know as parents, what did your parents do to make you turn out that way?
Well, my parents are very supportive of all and everything that I do, so that's one. And they don't expect perfection out of me, but they do expect my best effort, and that's all they can ask for.
Well, I heard there's a wall at your school, Mackenzie, where they're taping up all your acceptances. It must be a pretty long wall. What's it like? What do the other kids say? Are they proud of you?
Yes, my friends are extremely proud of me, even the people in my grade, just my peers. The first day it went up, when it was only like halfway full, they were like, oh my God, like, you really applied to this many schools and got in.
Well, Mackenzie, you had to make a big decision. When you get into 49 schools, you only get 1 yes. You've already chosen your yes. Tell us which college and why you felt like that was the right fit for you.
So I chose Tuskegee University, and I chose Tuskegee because they really embraced me once I went on campus, got to spend time on campus. It really made me feel like I was at home, away from home, and it's really good for my major of animal science. They produce 70% of all Black veterinarians, which is what I want to do. So it's the best pick for me.
Mackenzie, you are on your way and then some. You are just so impressive. I hope you can enjoy, relax in your last few weeks of senior year. You know, slack off a little bit.
Yeah, skip class. You're allowed. You're already in college.
You're in.
Yes, I'm totally enjoying these last couple of months, enjoying the ride.
Oh, well, you worked hard for it.
Yeah.
Good luck at Tuskegee. Keep in touch with us. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Oh, she's
Come
incredible.
on, Roker. Is she amazing?
Wow, my gosh.
Yeah.
So impressive. What an impressive young woman.
NBC News, streaming free now.
We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. Love it.
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
We're back 8:51 now with Mr. Smith Goes To, and for this edition, Harry headed back to elementary school where some young students have a very surprising chef in the kitchen. This is a cool one, Harry.
Imagine 11 successful years in the NFL.
Yeah.
You leave, you probably go to the broadcast booth, maybe you coach, you know, who knows what. This is a story about a player who traded his uniform for an apron.
Jared Weld here is a lucky dad. He gets to take his kids to school every day. And when they head off to class, he heads down the hall to his new job as the kitchen director at St. Paul the Apostle School in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Weld here is retired from his former line of employment as a 6'8", 330-pound offensive tackle in the National Football League, where he played for 11 years. And yes, he says, there are similarities between protecting a quarterback and prepping and ordering and serving lunch for 300 kids every day.
I mean, it seems a lot more mundane, but trust me, if one of those things falls out of step, then your whole operation is in jeopardy.
Then the quarterback gets sacked?
Exactly.
And while the kids are neither the size nor the temperament of his former opponents, the youngsters do not hold back. In terms of feedback that you get from the kids, have they been rough on you, or are they pretty fair?
They're very honest. I'll say that. And it's helpful because they're happy to tell you if they like it. They're also happy to tell you if, no, that's disgusting.
Yet when he started in the kitchen last fall, there was more than a little curiosity from kids and parents alike. On the menu, for instance,
So some flank steak that's going to end up as chimichurri flank steak.
chimichurri, tiki masala, beef bulgogi. Weld here, in the immortal words of Chef Emerald, has taken school lunch up a notch.
It looks like a restaurant menu.
Michelle Morrow is the school principal.
Then we started getting more volunteers in the lunchroom because our volunteers get to eat. And yeah, we constantly get the, are you going to offer takeout?
Weld here says he was a picky eater as a kid, but did obviously grow up to be big and strong, and a truly serious and curious foodie.
There's so much around cultures globally centered around food, getting together, having a meal, having conversation, to me, it's not only like nourishing to my body, but to my soul.
And as a pre-med student in college, then a pro athlete, he learned a lot about nutrition.
I realized there's foods that I need to incorporate more to have my body feel good from week to week when, you know, you're basically getting in a car wreck each Sunday. You know, you have to be really smart and calculated about it and teach yourself to like new things and think outside of the box.
All of which he tries to bring to the school kitchen. Tuesday is Taco Tuesday at St. Paul's. The Nonas are there to cheerfully volunteer, and we did indeed sample everything from scratch. The crema, ridiculous.
Get out of here. Oh my God. Do you feel like the food has gotten an upgrade since you have an NFL player in the kitchen now?
Oh, yeah.
Some of the school parents were curious or even doubtful the big guy in the kitchen could deliver. They are doubtful no more, and maybe a little envious.
How good is the food? It's outstanding. Try to duplicate it at home myself, so.
Gourmet food right here at a school. Better cooking than what I can do at home. That's what my son says.
Weld here spent most of his life working toward one goal, and like many a former pro athlete, wondered what he would do when his playing days were done.
You know, how do you optimize your life? You know, get the most out of the, you know, the blessing that we've been given on this earth, and just taking that curiosity for that purpose, I think, has kind of led me down some different roads in life.
To the kitchen.
Yeah, to the kitchen.
First of all, I just want to comment that when you came rocking up here with your braids, I was in my head applauding because I remember the story.
Yes.
You were at AT&T. It was one of your first big jobs. You had braids. Like, what did they tell you?
Yes, they told me that my braids and my red shoes were unprofessional.
Oh.
And I mean, they meant it. And they were trying to help. I mean, that's the part that's the irony of it all. They're really trying to help me. And they said, you have to get rid of that. So I went home, and my mom and my oldest sister, Cassandra, stayed up all night with me taking my braids out.
Because you wanted to fit.
Oh, I wanted to fit.
You've been breaking the mold for most of your life. Yes. You have been someone who just makes your way through, but I want to go way, way back. Okay. Because I think we're all shaped from when we're little kids.
Yes.
And when you were a little kid, you were scared.
Yes, I was scared. I was scared. Domestic violence was part of our family.
Where did you put that part of your life when you were a little girl?
You know, we hid it. I mean, people didn't know that my mom was, a victim of domestic violence. They didn't know my dad was doing the things he was doing. And so we just hid it, just like they hid it, until it just got to a point where my mom decided she wasn't going to deal with it anymore.
As a little girl, how did you feel when you couldn't protect her?
It was tough. And there were 6 of us. I mean, so we'd get in each other's rooms, or, we'd sit on the couch and we'd hear things. And it got to a point where my brother was getting ready to graduate from high school and I was 15. It got to the point where we had to call the police because it was graduation day, and he just went crazy. And we called the police, and they came and got us. My mom says we have to go to the graduation. So we still did that. And then we went to Cassandra's house and stayed the whole summer. And that was it.
Did he think that you could ever become somebody?
No, and that was the painful part. He told my youngest sister and I that summer that we would be hookers on the street without him. And that was so painful. I mean, it was so painful, but there were years where I would think about that every single day, that he actually said that. And that's when my younger sister cried, I cried, and I don't know where it came from. I was 15 years old. And she said, is that true? I said, that's not true. Because I guess I just dug into like everything my mom had taught us, that we are not going to be hookers on the street. I said, I'm going to be the president of something one day.
Now, this optimism, you have, I know who's on your side.
Yes.
God's on your side.
Yes.
And your mom has placed that on your heart since you were a little girl.
Yes. Math book in this hand, Bible in this hand.
Yeah. So did you always feel protected somehow, that God was going to watch out for you no matter how bad things got?
Yes, I always felt that. I mean, I always felt that. And my mom used to take all 6 of us to church, and we'd walk to church. And she'd walk us up Cutting Boulevard and then 23rd Street, and she'd give us scriptures. The 23rd Psalm, she'd give us scriptures about protection. And so I just always felt that God was going to protect me, but I always felt that other people would protect me too. So I always felt like somebody was going to show up.
So here you are, you told your sister, we're going to be somebody, we're going to go to college. We're
Yes.
going to. So you get into, where'd you go to college?
The #1 public institution in the world. The University of California at Berkeley. Yes, yes, yes. And not because it's such a great school, but because it was 15 minutes away from home.
Yeah. So you were at Berkeley, you were the first black cheerleader.
Yes.
You were the first black member of a sorority. DG.
Yes. Anchors away.
Anchors away. Did you set out to be the first, or did you just do what you did?
No, I just did what I did. And I think that happens a lot. Like, you don't know you're the first. I was a cheerleader in high school, so I said, okay, I'm going to be a cheerleader in college. And I went out for the first time and did not make it, and said, well, that happened to me in high school too. And so I went out and I made it. And then, of course, being in my sorority, I went through Rush, and I ended up being a DG. And I didn't know that I was going to be, I was the only black girl in the house.
Yeah.
Until I got there.
Yeah.
It's me and 110 of my white and Asian friends. It's like, okay, great. And, you know, everybody feeling under afro and all that. It was a great experience, but you don't know you're first, you're just doing.
Right.
I was just doing what I was supposed to.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. Love it.
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
So AT&T, wait, were you married when you went to AT&T?
No. I had this whole plan that I was going to graduate from college. You know, once I put my boyfriend on hold for 4 years, literally 4 years. Once I put him on hold, then picked it back up, I said, okay, so I'll get married 2 years. I'm going to work for 2 years. Then I'm going to have, start a family. So I had it kind of all mapped out.
I would have thought that you had all the tough stuff in your life early. But I would, if I were God, I would say Cint does not deserve any more tough stuff after what she's been through. But life is funny like that.
Yes, it is.
It doesn't give you all the goodness later. The bad stuff still comes. You and your husband really did want to start a family, didn't you?
We did.
And that was not to be early, was it?
No. 4 second trimester miscarriages in 10 years of trying to have kids. 4. We never could quite figure it out. And then when we got pregnant the 5th time, I said, okay, this is the 5th and final time. This is it. And we just thought there was either another miscarriage coming or a full-term pregnancy. We didn't know there was something in the middle where we ended up having a premature daughter who lived for 6 months, so she defied the odds. They thought it would be 2 days. So Special K, it was Carolyn with the K. My mom's name is Carolyn. So Carolyn with the K. Special K's doctor at her funeral, he eulogized her and he said, Carolyn Marshall was here to teach us that we're not God. He said all the things we thought that would take her out and all that, they didn't.
And you said she did have a purpose. There was obviously a clear purpose. But children, you wanted children, you and your husband.
Yes.
So you went down a beautiful road, the road of adoption.
Yes.
I mean,
It's
they're
so
just made for
beautiful.
you, don't you think? Your kids were made for you.
Yes, but I remember telling, it was after my 4th miscarriage, I remember telling a colleague at work when he said, Cint, we have some friends who adopted, and maybe you should think about doing that. Because at this point, everybody's concerned. I mean, I'm going through all these surgeries and blood transfusions and near-death experiences, and so my friends really stepped in and family and said, maybe you guys should adopt. And I remember telling this guy, Tom Villa, I remember saying, Tom, are you nuts? And I can't even believe I told him this, so I'm gonna confess, right? I can't believe I told him this. I said, there is no way you can love kids that somebody else had as if they were your own. That is impossible.
Yeah.
I am going to have this kid.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
You were
still
adamant.
grieving. I was cutting up.
Grieving, sure.
I was cutting up on that staircase. I mean, I can still see it. And he just looked at me and he said, Sen, I'm telling you, our friends don't see it different. I said, they do, and they're just not telling you about it. So then later, when we adopted our first, okay, and I sent out pictures, Christmas cards, and it was a picture with the judge and our new son, Kenneth Anthony. And he's 2 years old, 2.5 years old. And the caption said, you know, happy holidays, Anthony adopted us. And we're all just smiling. So my buddy Tom calls. So this is years later. He said, tell me that again. He said, what's that? So he had a bad word. What's that? You told me? He said, you can't love people's kids. I said, bye, boy. Just hang up my phone. Hang up my phone. Because obviously he was right and I was wrong.
But you said that your son adopted you.
Yes.
That's what happened.
And he adopted us. He stole our hearts from day one. Little bitty something, literally suffering from failure to thrive, had been abandoned, neglected, born in a bathtub, abandoned when he was 9 months old, with his 9-year-old brother taking care of him for 2 months.
Did your family grew over the years, and that was such a beautiful part of your life. But back to the business side. So AT&T, and we talked about this, they tell you to take your braids down. You do exactly what they say.
Right.
When you got promotions, did you expect them? Because I'm sure you got plenty.
Never. Never. I never in my 36 years sought a promotion. Never.
Really?
I was just so, you know, I'm a kid from the projects. I was just so happy to have the job that I had and make the money I was making, and things were great. And I got a chance to lead and touch people, which is what I'm all about. And so every job I ever had, I loved it.
So you are 40 years old.
Yes.
And you get the call that any person working at a company for a long time would want, a huge promotion.
Huge.
Huge.
Huge. Officer.
Yeah. So, except for there were a couple of strings attached.
Just a few.
Yeah.
Okay, so I walk in, and I walk in at home, and so the call came in the evening. And so my husband's sitting there, so he's hearing this call. And my boss tells me that the board had just approved me being an officer of the business. And congratulations. And I'm like, wow. And so she says, but a few things. She says, I don't want you, you know, you're gonna have to tone it down a little bit. I don't want you to laugh so loud. I mean, you're a happy person, you know, you laugh loud. I can hear it up the hallway, so you're gonna have to, you know, pull that back. And I'm like, I'm not liking this call, right? And she says, and then I want you to cut your hair. I left a magazine on your desk. And these people, they're black people, they're all in white, some event, and the lady has short hair, so I think you'd look good with that. And then she said, you can't be called Cint. Nobody really knows what that is, so it's Cynthia or Cindy. And at this point, I'm like, okay, this is getting kind of crazy. And then she said, and you cannot use the word blessed. I've heard you say that a few times. You just need to say lucky. And I said, you know what, I don't think I'm lucky. I'm blessed. And so now it sounds like you're trying to fundamentally change who I am. And then she said she didn't want all the people in my office. I had to get distant from the people. I'm like, this is going too far. And bottom line is, I turned down the job.
Wait, you turned it down?
Yes, I did.
You turned down the money and the job?
I said, you know what? I need you to help me figure out how to say no, because I don't want to offend anybody. I mean, this is big, and I know it's big. I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want to lose my job.
Right.
Okay? Because I'm not accepting this other job, so help me figure out how to say no. And she says, you're right. I don't think you fit the profile. And basically, she was saying she didn't think I was sophisticated enough. And so she says, I'll help you. So my husband's in the background. He's like, you can go to my barber. Okay, I got somebody that can cut your hair. You'll look good in white, because he's hearing me with all this. I'm like, stop.
Right, he's like, take the job,
take the job. We can figure all this out later. I said, you know, when I first started, y'all made me get rid of my red shoes and take down my braids. Like, when does this stop? At some point, like, I have to be able to be me. And now you want to change my name? I've been Cint my whole life. No. And so then I got a call I got two calls from two bosses, her bosses, and they started off the call with Cint, and they put emphasis on it. And I said yes, and they both said they knew what had happened, and they wanted to start all over. And I'll never forget someone telling me, he said, the person that we promoted to be an officer is the person who we want to walk in the door tomorrow. He says, and I've been to your office there in San Francisco, and I see your big sign that says, Lord, there's nothing that can happen today that you and I can't handle. I've seen this. And so he goes on to tell me about me and what he loves about me. And that's the person who they want to be an officer and who better show up to work tomorrow. And he apologized. That was so powerful. The words of a leader are powerful.
Do you know how many women struggle with this, exactly what you're saying?
Yes.
Because we are always put in boxes with what to wear, how to be, how to act.
Exactly.
And to be able to have a voice like you did.
Right. It was beautiful.
You were at one point, and this is such a beautiful image, you were ringing the bell on Wall Street.
Oh.
You at Wall Street ringing the bell. And that image is powerful, but what's more powerful is all your history came washing back.
It did. We were outside. So, you know, we had our event with the union that morning and all that. It was, I think, the 30-year anniversary of us on Wall Street, AT&T. And I'm standing on the corner and I look up and I actually see it's Wall Street and another street. And I just started crying. And our CFO, John Stevens, is standing there and he goes, "Cent, what's wrong?" And I said, "You know, my daddy told us that we were going to be hookers on the street. And I told my mom I'm going to make my money on Wall Street. I'm on Wall Street. This is crazy." So he gives me his phone and I called my mom.
Oh.
And she just started crying. I said, "Guess where I am?" I said, "I'm on Wall Street. And guess what I'm doing today?" And she just started crying. It's like, it happened.
Oh my.
We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world. Because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Our world is facing some complex issues. Chuck Todd breaks them down. Every Thursday, a deep dive into a new subject.
Instead of trying to cover a lot of topics in one episode, we're going to focus on one and take a deeper look at how it impacts America.
Exploring and explaining the critical stories that affect our future. Meet the Press Reports. Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. Streaming on NBC News Now and on demand next day on Peacock.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
You know what? Our hearts are ready for something like this.
It's a great workout. It's everything you need.
Look who's back together.
Oh, I'm so happy. That's what it takes to set a record. So glad to see you.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
NBC News, streaming free now.
So you have this illustrious career at AT&T, and all of a sudden you're retired. You're like, you know what? You worked hard. You deserve to chill. And then some guy named Mark Cuban from the Mavericks is like, look, you need to help us.
Right.
And you're like, who are you, Mark?
Who are you? I mean, honestly, Mark and his chief of staff, they were blowing up my cell phone. So I handed my husband the phone and said, because I didn't look at it. And he came back and he said, this guy doesn't need any money. You need to call him. It's Mark Cuban. And I said, who? I had to ask him because honestly, I didn't know Mark Cuban. And so he told me who it was and I said, okay, I'll call him. And he goes, no, you need to call him right now. Right now. And then when I called him, it was beautiful. He wanted to know if he could see me that afternoon. Wanted to know if I had been watching the news, that he was having a crisis, kind of explain what was going on with the Sports Illustrated article coming out and all that. And he was so genuinely disturbed about what was going on.
This is an organization that was really troubled. I mean, it was smack dab in the middle of a misogynistic culture, sexual abuse allegations, all of the worst of the worst.
Right.
I mean, you're being asked to come in there and clean up the house, basically.
Right. Right.
How are you going to do that?
And at first I'm thinking, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I go and I talk to him. And so then once I talked to him, I just thought, I got to go home and pray about this. And that's what I told him. I said, I don't know if I'm going to do this. And two women stopped me on the way out of his office. and said, are you the person who Mark Cuban said is going to come in and help us and save us? And I said, well, I don't have the power to save anybody, but I know who does. I said, I don't really know yet. And then they said, well, can we talk to you? And they talked to me and they told me their stories. And I spent time with those women standing right outside of Mark's office. And he wanted me to talk to them. He just kind of nodded like, talk to them. I mean, whatever you can get, whatever you can hear. And so they were just telling me about the culture and how women were being treated and a couple of things that had actually happened to them that they felt were inappropriate. And they said, we need help. You have to come in. The stuff in the article is true. I said, I told him I'm going to pray about it. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I am uniquely qualified to help, okay? And so they started telling me what they need, and oh my goodness. So I went home and I prayed about it. I came back the next day.
And said?
And I was in the office for 3 hours before Mark even knew I was in the building. Because I never made it to his office. People pulled me in a conference room and just started talking to me, men and women, about the workplace. And it just wasn't all just misconduct, sexual harassment.
Oh, it was a lot of other stuff too, like...
Yeah, just performance issues, favoritism, I mean, just...
But you had to go in, one woman, and change it. How did you go about it?
I laid out a vision from day one that said we would set the global standard in the NBA for diversity and inclusion, because I truly believe that that's where you start. And then I laid out a set of values, the spell crafts: character, respect, authenticity, fairness, teamwork, and safety, both physical and emotional safety, and said these will not just be on the walls, but they would operate in the halls. Everything we will do, every decision we make, every hire we make, it will be based on this set of values. And let me tell you what that looks like. And so I went through each one of them, laid out a 100-day plan that had 4 parts to it. Model zero tolerance, so meaning hotline, investigation, terminations if necessary, and there were some they were necessary. A Mavs women's agenda, so really an agenda to educate, elevate, and empower women, because that was missing. And then just cultural transformation around diversity, equity, and inclusion, all that. And then operational effectiveness, just basic things like how you pay people, gender pay equity, all that. And it was about 200 initiatives. We laid it out and said, let's go. And so when the investigators' report came out with the 13 things they wanted us to do, and we had already done just about all of them, he had a press conference. And he talked about those 13 things and the expectations. And I believe that press conference was really sending a message to all of the teams, to the entire league. Here is what we are about, and here's what we're not about. And it's slow. It's slow progress.
How much work is there to do, would you say?
Oh, we're not done yet. There's a lot of work to do.
You have been at the helm of the Mavericks during a time in history that kids are going to be reading about for a long, long time. This is a social justice reckoning is happening. George Floyd, all these things are happening, and you're kind of at the forefront. How has it been navigating these waters?
It's been interesting because I call it a double pandemic. And what I told our team is that even when the NBA shut down, I remember sitting in a conference room the next day after we sent our people home, and I said, we don't know how long we're not going to be playing basketball, but we're going to be playing the game of life with people. And so what does that look like? Who do we need to help? How do we step up? And I actually ended up coining a phrase called my new .com, because as a leader, different things were important to me now. Having compassion for people, communication had to be done very differently. Community service was at an all-time high. We have an opportunity to impact that. Compromise, and that really came out with the George Floyd situation. And then compliance. It's like we have things that we have to do, like wash our hands, wear a mask, keep our distance early on, okay? And so those are the things we really start to focus on. And so as soon as we really start to focus on that, because we did a lot with the Mavericks for community service, I mean, a lot. We were out there everywhere trying to help essential workers, even essential workers that needed daycare, meals at the hospital. I mean, you name it, we were there. Virtual, I mean, technology for kids, all that. And then here comes the George Floyd murder. And we stepped up, and we just decided, you know, my boss was having conversations with folks. I was having conversations, what we call true courageous conversations. And so we decided to have a big community conversation for Dallas. And we brought 200 community leaders together. And I said, I want people who represent the systems that undergird systemic racism in this country. And our theme was listen, learn, unite. And so we had a big conversation June 9th of last year. It was beautiful. And we said, well, what are we going to unite around? Because we need to take action. And so we developed something called Mavs Take Action. And it's advocacy, communication, training, investment, outreach, and noise. And the investment is around community investment, economic investment, employment, and just all of that, right? And so it was 50 initiatives where we said we are going to have a minimum 10,000 volunteer hours and $5 million minimum that we're going to put into making sure that we promote social justice. We eradicate these racial disparities that exist in all of these different systems across healthcare, education, economics, I mean, all that, right? And we said we want to drive sustainable change. We want it to last. And so we've been doing all kind of things around that. Even in our arena, I mean, we've had, situations where just very few people didn't like the stand we were taking. They didn't like the fact that our players were playing on a court in the bubble that said Black Lives Matter and all that. The beautiful thing is, I wanted to talk to all of these people. I said, anybody who leaves us, I want to talk to them. They can leave. I mean, we'll get other customers. Let's listen to each other, learn from each other. We probably have more in common than differences. Every now and then you find that's not the case, but usually it's the case. And 9 out of 10 times, the customer would not leave. 9 out of 10 times they wouldn't leave. We need to talk because we do have some real issues in this country. And we have to respond to those real issues. And what I love about our team, what I love about the NBA is we have the platform. We normally bring people together. We bring people together all the time. Our arena, we have 41, what I call 41 parties. 19,200 people at every party. And so we bring them together. And so people expect us to unify people. So why not unify them around these critical issues? So that's what we've been doing.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Ukraine and Russia. Could you help me understand what's going on?
So to help make sense of it, we've created a newscast just for them. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. Love it.
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
I look at you and it's hard to believe that you are a cancer survivor. I don't know why I'm saying that, but because you are lit from inside and you don't have, as a cancer survivor myself, sometimes I think about it, sometimes I don't. How bad was it for you?
It was bad. I mean, I thought I had months to live. It was bad. When the doctor says I got bad news, sit down. I mean, it's bad and significant. And then he tells me that I have stage 3 colon cancer, 1 lymph node away from stage 4. And so I went through brutal chemotherapy for 6 months. It was brutal.
How old were you and how old were your kids?
I got that call. I talked to him. I got my colonoscopy the day before my 51st birthday. So my last day of 50. So technically I was in compliance of get a colonoscopy at 50.
By 50.
And so, and the kids, my son was a freshman in college. Ricky was a little older. The girls were still in high school, middle school. So it was crazy. And so we had to tell them. My husband didn't want to tell them. And I said, we have to tell them because I need these honeys. I need them to be my prayer warriors. And that's what I told them. I said, I need you to be in here with us. And they all responded very, very differently. My daughter Shirley just said, I know you're gonna die. I've seen the movie Stepmom. You're gonna die and you're not telling us. And it was just brutal. It was brutal. In fact, one time Shirley told me, she goes, Mom, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. I said, why do you think that? She says, because you don't have your clothes on the door the night before. You don't put them on to go to work. And you don't come in at nighttime. She had a routine. It got to the point, Hoda, where I literally started hanging my clothes up on the door. I told my husband, I gotta go in the office just so Shirley can be okay. And so one time I went in the office, I stayed in there, I fell asleep, I came home late, I walked in, I was so sick. Shirley was on cloud 9. She said, Mommy's gonna live, Mommy's gonna live. I said, Shirley, why you didn't say that? She said, it's nighttime. You came home at nighttime, and look what you have on, the clothes are on the door. You don't even realize these kids you don't realize these kids are in a routine. They're in a routine.
Right.
And she needed her routine back. And so then I had to just try to get the strength even after a bad round of chemo, because I'd have 9 bad days and 5 good days.
Right.
And usually what I try to do is go in the office and do everything in those 5 good days. But I said, I got to try to fake my way through some of these 9 days just for the kids. Just for the kids.
You're so fascinating. When is the movie coming out?
I'm writing a book about my cancer journey. I'm finally writing a book about it.
When you look at all the things that you've overcome, what was if you had to like put them in order, what would be the most difficult thing you think that you had to overcome in your life of all of these things?
I would say letting go of what I thought was my plan. That I had this plan of I was gonna have a family, what it was gonna look like, all that. And having that be truly one of the first times in my life where it just didn't go according
just like you thought.
To my plan. And I had to let it go and just realize that there was a plan operating bigger than my plan. And I have proof that it all turned out.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We've got a jam-packed Pop Star Plus for you. On the show today is the woman behind the voice of Bart Simpson. Of course, Nancy Cartwright shared some memories from over 30 years of The Simpsons. And Brian Baumgartner, who played Kevin Malone on The Office, he spoke to us about why fans love The Office so much. And later, Fran Drescher told us why every human should own a pet. And our buddy Leah Remini revealed what she likes to watch. It might surprise some people. All right, that was a good teaser for you. Let's get to today's first item. It's Nancy Cartwright. She might be the most recognizable voice from The Simpsons because she plays Bart Simpson. She's the voice. She's been behind the naughty and rebellious Bart for 30 years in The Simpsons, and she told us what it's been like to be part of such an iconic show.
You know, when I was cast as Bart, it was such a dream come true for me because I think everybody has a little bit of Bart Simpson in him or her, you know, in them. It's true. We all have these personalities. We're such a conglomeration of so many personalities. I describe Bart Simpson as being a 10-year-old school-hating underachiever and proud of it. That was the description that I read in the original audition when I went. And I was supposed to go in for Lisa, but I decided I wanted to do Bart, and he just seemed more interesting than an 8-year-old middle child. His description was so much more clear. So I went in, and Matt Groening was there, and I had an idea in mind, and I said, blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh my God, that's him, that's Bart. And I was hired, boom, on the spot.
Eat my shorts.
Eat my shorts.
I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you?
I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you? I think Bart Simpson has probably got the most catchphrases of anyone. It's, I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you? Eat my shorts. Get bent. No way, man. Cowabunga. Whoa, mama. I mean, all these things are like, whoa. Score. It's such a hard question to answer about like what's my favorite. It's kind of like asking who's your favorite kid. There's a good handful of episodes that definitely rank up there. Some of my favorites are the musicals. I love the musicals, like Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, you know, that's a really good one. Because that's that takeoff on Mary Poppins, and Sherry Bobbins is so funny, and the singing of it is just crazy. You know, if you want to be our sitter, please be sweet and never bitter.
If you wish to be our sitter, please be sweet and never bitter. Help us with math and book reports. Might I add, eat my shorts. Bart!
Oh, When Bart Gets an F. That's the title of it. It's the first show of the second season, and kind of humbly speaking, I guess, modestly speaking, that one, it got a lot of attention. And it takes Bart, it turns him into, from the first 13 that we did the first season, that episode really shows you a level of Bart Simpson that you had never seen before. And he goes into, he just gets really, really sad. And he's super sincere about how he tried to study. And he starts to cry because he feels like he's going to flunk the 4th grade. And that stands out in my mind.
What's the matter? Well, I would think you'd be used to failing by now.
No, you don't understand. I really tried this time. I really tried.
Early on in the show, it was made very clear to us that the actors are not the stars of the show, that the characters are the stars of the show. And nobody had any problem with that. I don't think anybody had any idea that the show was going to go on, 33 plus years and turn into the icon that it is. But instead, we're all like armpit to armpit, elbow to elbow in one little tiny booth that was not meant for recording in. So we had like moving carpets up on the walls because one big wall was all glass, and when we spoke it would vibrate, so they had to put a carpet in front of it, and we would all share the same microphone, armpit check, and here I am very pregnant. It was a lot of give and take from all of us actors, but it was, I look at that and like, that is such a humble, modest beginning for what came to be, it's pretty cool. When I meet fans, it's like, it's pretty cool because most of the time I'm not recognized. Most of the time I'm just this anonymous celebrity, and it doesn't matter where I am, because I don't look like him, my skin's not yellow, 9 spikes, I'm not a 10-year-old boy. But I can have more causation over revealing who I really am. And so if it's just a spontaneous thing and I'm talking to somebody and I ask them, so what's your name? And they say, oh, my name's Katie. And I'll say, oh,
hi, Katie, I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you?
And it is just like the jaw drops to the ground. And it's equally fun for me. It still is to this day. I love surprising people. And it's kind of a cool thing. It sometimes pops people out of their funk. And isn't that kind of what we need right now? We need some kind of enlightenment. We need some humor, some lightness, some aesthetics. One question that people like to ask me is, why is The Simpsons so successful? How has it lasted this long? And I think it actually doesn't even matter what, this is funny to say this, what decade you look at, because we're in our 3rd decade. That's crazy. But no matter what decade you look at, The Simpsons has a consistency in the business model, in the way that it's done. It's got this family that has its own kind of rules or lack of rules, and they're kind of a nice quote unquote normal family. And I do think they represent a lot of people that can say, wow, that's us. Whether it's The Simpsons or all the citizens of Springfield, it's like people can find things that they can relate to. And that has been such a success, and a tip of the hat to the writers and the executives on the show.
Thanks to Nancy for sharing all those memories with us. Next up, we're revisiting the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company with The Office star Brian Baumgartner.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Can this still end diplomatically with Vladimir Putin in charge of Russia? Our promise to take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Is that enough? The circus-like stuff that the hearings turned into. This system seems broken. What do we do? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Our world is facing some complex issues. Chuck Todd breaks them down. Every Thursday, a deep dive into a new subject.
Instead of trying to cover a lot of topics in one episode, we're going to focus on one and take a deeper look at how it impacts America.
Exploring and explaining the critical stories that affect our future. Meet the Press Reports. Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. Streaming on NBC News Now and on demand next day on Peacock.
Can this still end diplomatically with Vladimir Putin in charge of Russia? Our promise to take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Is that enough? The circus-like stuff that the hearings turned into. This system seems broken. What do we do? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Welcome back to Popstar Plus. We have Scranton, Pennsylvania on the mind for this next flashback interview. Hard to believe it's been 17 years since the premiere of The Office, the hit TV show about the work lives of paper company employees. Brian Baumgartner played the lovable Kevin Malone and weighed in on why he thinks people still love the show so much.
At least once a year, I like to bring in some of my Kevin's famous chili.
At least once a year, I like to bring in some of my Kevin's famous chili.
I want to eat pigs in a blanket. In a blanket.
Nope, it's not Ashton Kutcher. It's Kevin Malone. Equally handsome, equally smart.
Well, Kevin Malone, how would I describe Kevin Malone? I think Kevin Malone is a man of some unique skills, who is misunderstood in a way. His childlike sensibility fits into the rest of the ensemble of The Office very well. I had such a blast playing him and continue to be delighted by how fans react to him. I do think that of all of the other actors and characters on The Office, I do think that probably I'm the most dissimilar to mine.
My Kleenex shoes were a huge conversation piece, but man, my dogs are barking.
But, you know, look, I loved his ability to be in the moment. I used to say he has no memory of what happened before or any ramifications for what might happen in the future. But in the moment, if he enjoyed a moment, he was willing to show it. Often didn't think too far ahead, but I had a blast playing with him. And you know, our little group in the corner, the accountants, Oscar and Angela and Kevin, I describe it as kind of a perfect comedy triangle.
Well, I need to give my cat up for adoption.
The one who uses the doorbell, or the one with the Mexican hat, or the one with the rain galoshes, or the one that you let go around naked?
Which had nothing to do with us, which had to do with the writers and the construction of the characters. But the way that the alliances kept shifting, their specific personalities and how they played off of each other was so much fun to do for almost a decade. I think for me now, my favorite episode would have to be Stress Relief, otherwise known as the Dwight's fake fire drill.
Oh, here's a door. Check that one out. How's the handle?
It's warm. Okay, go to the back door.
Another option. Another option. Jeez. Okay, settle down, everyone.
And I think, you know, for me now, there's so many great episodes, but I think for me, what was happening outside of the show carries special significance for me as well. So I think it's a hilariously funny, well-written episode.
I saw a friend today, it had been a while. We forgot each other's names.
A lot of things spring to mind thinking about the finale. I basically shot the show in my 30s. My whole 30s was dedicated to being together, which is high school and college, and then 2 more years, spending a lot of time with those people. So, you know, it was really knowing that whatever happened, the friendships would be there, relationships would remain, but we wouldn't be spending 60 to 70 hours a week together anymore. And that was going to be a huge change for us. So a huge feeling of loss, but also tremendously proud of the journey that we had, and the fact that we chose to end it. We had a story that we wanted to tell, and we made sure that we got that story in and told it, largely with the original people who were cast. I mean, I don't think anyone who was on the show could have ever guessed that the show would end up becoming what it has become today. I mean, we almost made a pilot and was never on the air. And then, the fact that an audience picked up on it, I always knew what we were doing was special. If people gave it a chance, I just thought, well, people aren't going to give it a chance. So I'm tremendously proud of the show. As I say to people, I'm a fan of the show and love watching it, and I'm so proud to have been a part of it. In examining through this book that I have coming out, Welcome to Dunder Mifflin, one of the things that we are looking at is why the show has not just survived, but has thrived 8 years after we have filmed anything. And I think that it's really about the people. It's really about the construction of the idea and the aesthetic of the show that was so really revolutionary and groundbreaking at the time, but the hiring of the specific actors to play the roles and the writing staff that was brought in, which are now the top comedy writers in television today. It was just a special and unique collection of people led by Greg Daniels, who, created the show, and his genius in finding the perfect people for their job. That's really why I think.
What a classic. We love that show in our house. Hope you enjoyed that one. Office fans, it was for you. Coming up, we've got nanny star Fran Drescher sharing the key to easing her anxiety. It happens to be her furry friend.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world, because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Can this still end diplomatically with Vladimir Putin in charge of Russia? Our promise to take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Is that enough? The circus-like stuff that the hearings turned into. This system seems broken. What do we do? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Allie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Our world is facing some complex issues. Chuck Todd breaks them down. Every Thursday, a deep dive into a new subject.
Instead of trying to cover a lot of topics in one episode, we're going to focus on one and take a deeper look at how it impacts America.
Exploring and explaining the critical stories that affect our future. Meet the Press Reports. Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. Streaming on NBC News Now and on demand next day on Peacock.
NBC News, streaming free now.
And welcome back to Popstar Plus. Did you know that Fran Drescher is a huge, huge dog lover? She's even had a famous dog of her own. Get this, Chester, that's the dog on The Nanny, was actually Fran's real-life dog. She told us all about that and how her pets have shaped her life in this episode of our series, My Pet Tale.
I starred on The Nanny, and I wrote a part for my first dog ever, Chester Drescher.
Oh, Chester, I haven't seen you in such a long time.
Nanny, fine, please. He doesn't like strangers.
Chester was an amazing dog because he was extremely consistent in his behavior. We knew what he would do under certain circumstances, so we wrote towards that. And that was why every time, Cece Babcock grabbed him away from me, we knew that he would growl.
Oh, how thoughtful.
So we always had her do that.
You need some time to get used to. I mean, you can't expect a dog to just jump into your arms and love you at first sight.
Mr. Sheffield. Oh, you got her a puppy? Oh, how sweet. Oh, look how friendly he is.
And it was great working with him because he was always on the set anyway. I'm always of the camp must love dogs. I have a dog now, Angel Grace, and I rescued her just days before lockdown, and then she rescued me. And for the first couple of months of our relationship at my house, it was just her and me. I don't think she really knew what was happening, but all of a sudden, it was just the two of us for a couple of months. And so it really did bond us. And we're very, very close now. And she's 3 years old. And I travel with her, and she's my service animal. So I'm just very grateful to have the first big dog I've ever had. And, she gives me added security and helps me through situations that sometimes would otherwise make me anxious. She's kind of different shades of white and bone, and I thought she was so loving when I met her at the rescue place, and so sweet that I said, are you an angel? Did Samson send you to me? And Samson was the dog that sadly had died just days earlier from a stroke. I said, are you an angel? Is that your name? And it just seemed suitable to her because she is such an angel. She is definitely a big part of the family. She's got all these other mothers who come and take care of her if I have to go out of town and I can't take her with me. Dog is God spelled backwards, and I think that dogs are here to teach us unconditional love, to remind us that there's room in our hearts to love another, even if you've loved and lost. And I think that every human should experience unconditional love. It's just a bond between two species that really is unparalleled. I just, couldn't live without having a canine to love and care for and feel loved by and share my bed with. Just be there as a friend and a companion and company. They're wonderful company. In fact, as a cancer survivor, I always tell other people recently diagnosed, make sure your pet sleeps in the bed with you, because at night is when your imagination and fear starts to run wild because you don't have the distractions of the day. And if you don't have a pet, get one.
Well, it's really nice to hear people's pet stories. They mean so much. All right, still to come, Leah Remini breaks down her must-watch list.
Our world is facing some complex issues. Chuck Todd breaks them down. Every Thursday, a deep dive into a new subject.
Instead of trying to cover a lot of topics in one episode, we're going to focus on one and take a deeper look at how it impacts America.
Exploring and explaining the critical stories that affect our future. Meet the Press Reports. Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. Streaming on NBC News Now and on demand next day on Peacock.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Our hearts are ready for something like this.
It's a great workout. It's everything you need.
What comes back together?
Oh, I'm so happy. That's what it takes to set a record.
So glad to see you.
NBC News, streaming free now.
Can this still end diplomatically with Vladimir Putin in charge of Russia? Our promise to take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Is that enough? The circus-like stuff that the hearings turned into. This system seems broken. What do we do? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
And welcome back. We absolutely love learning more about our friend Leah Remini. When she can't fall asleep, she turns to one particular show, and it just might surprise you. She spoke to us for our What I Watch series.
When I have to fall asleep, when I can't fall asleep, I put on Forensic Files. Don't know why. Listening to stories, people being murdered, gets me to sleep. That's probably, a psychologist would probably have an answer.
It was a delivery he never expected.
The older version of Forensic Files, the guy's voice, it's so soothing. And he's like, and then they found her decapitated. Something about the guy's voice. I don't know what it is. What I watch when I need comfort food is a reality show. Pick any one, Housewives of any state, or I watch a Love Island, or I watch Below Deck, basically Bravo. What I love about reality shows in general is that I just feel like it takes me away, like it's a mind vacation. I find myself not multitasking in my brain, like when I'm watching something that's newsworthy. I start to think about all the things I need to do in my life, things I'm not doing right. I think I should be a better daughter, a better mother, a better this, a better aunt, a better sister, But when I watch reality shows, it's almost like my mind is suspended. It is literally frozen. And the picture I get of myself while I'm watching reality shows is just kind of drool, it isn't, but that's what I picture myself doing because it's so mind numbing. My daughter Sophia got me onto Love Island, but only UK versions. We find that to be the better versions of Love Island. It's a little riskier. So I really tend to go to those, or I'll watch a marathon of Say Yes to the Dress. It's the not having to think about changing the channel or, so it's usually if I see there's 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons of something, I'm in, because then somehow I fall asleep and then I'm like, wait, how'd I get on season 4? And it's just anything that has multiple seasons. What I watch that might surprise people, I don't know that what I watch might surprise people. I do watch a lot of documentaries. I don't know that that's surprising to people, but when people talk about documentaries, they're like, you probably haven't seen this. I'm like, seen it. I'll watch a documentary on flies. I just love documentaries. It doesn't really matter what it is. I just love real stories.
Sitting here in traffic on the Queensboro Bridge tonight.
I didn't need to prepare for the King of Queens because I am Carrie. There's no need for me to prep. Oh, she's a girl from Brooklyn married to a neighborhood guy who has a crazy father in her basement. There was nothing I needed to prep for. I knew the character. I know the character very well. But you know what's funny about the King of Queens is that I remember our producers, when I first got the role, we did a pilot and our executive producer was like, why are you wearing makeup? And I was like, first of all, have you been to a borough in New York? Queens, Brooklyn. The idea of what a borough was like, they don't get their nails done, they don't wear makeup. And I was like, first of all, everything from a borough, I'm from Bensonhurst. Don't tell me, I didn't have a lot of money growing up, but my stuff was coordinated. My outfits were matching the shirt, back in my day, it was matching your shirt with your socks and everything was color coordinated. So the idea of what somebody from New York is was so off. And I was like, no, this girl gets her nails done, this girl gets her hair done, this girl, because this girl is me. So We're not doing sweatpants and I go, and by the way, if we wear sweatpants, it's color coordinated. What I watched when I did a good cry, oh my God. Terms of Endearment, The Notebook, Steel Magnolias. It's about friendships, it's about family, it's about losing people that you love. I mean, it's just, and The Notebook just kills me. Every time. There's not a time. And then Moulin Rouge. I know that sounds crazy, but I cry every time. Every time she dies. Every time. I've seen it 56 times, probably just in the last year. It's a Wonderful Life. Every holiday, crying. Every time. Every time. What I watch with my family is anything my daughter wants to watch. It's not done by votes or even what her parents would want to watch, because as they get older, they have their own rooms, they have their own computers, they can watch whatever they want to watch. So if my daughter says, I want to watch such and such with you guys, I'm like, Kay, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Whatever she wants to watch, I'm like, I will watch.
Thanks to Leah for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Well, there you have it. That was today's Popstar Plus. Thanks for being here, and join us again tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye.
Here.
Oh my gosh, is that
We
what I
see
think
you.
it is?
Yeah, it's all the guys who love to watch Today all day. We're happy that you're with us. Savannah's off. I'm happy to have Willie Dice with me.
I'm happy to be here. And with all of you at home as well. Here's what's coming up. We'll start with the latest on the war in Ukraine and the new message Vladimir Putin delivered to the world during Russia's Victory Day parade overnight. Keir Simmons is in Moscow with the latest.
And then we're bringing you inside that jaw-dropping upset at the Kentucky Derby. We know everyone's still talking about it. Rich Strike's trainer joined us live to relive the thrilling race and tell us what's next for that horse that shocked the world. It's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And the always lovely and talented Mandy Moore stopped by to share some new music and secrets from the This Is Us finale. It's all coming up on Today in 30.
We're going to start with NBC's Keir Simmons in Moscow, and we should point out that Russia is cracking down on journalists there, limiting what reporters can say under threat of imprisonment. With that said, Keir, good morning.
Hoda, Willie, good morning to you. According to the Russian government, 11,000 military marched through Red Square behind me there this morning. President Putin himself, walking close to us, was cheered by the invited guests, his speech as uncompromising as ever. This morning, Russia's military men and women marching through Red Square and in victory parades across Russia. The message, unmistakable. For Donbass, some soldiers chanted, referring to the region of eastern Ukraine where fighting is now focused. Addressing them, President Putin defiant. You are fighting for your motherland, its future, he said, blaming the West for the conflict and saying the death of each of our soldiers is a grief for all of us. Russia's leader invoking the memory of World War II on this day marking victory over the Nazis, but not declaring victory in what he calls his special military operation. This is a patriotic day for Russia, but it's rarely been held on a day like today. Every one of these men and women have colleagues in Ukraine. President Putin saying just a moment ago, some of them have come here straight from the fighting. After he spoke, intimidating military hardware, tanks, even nuclear-capable missiles rolling through Red Square. But this was a smaller parade than last year, and a planned flyover of fighter jets and bombers cancelled at the last moment because of the weather, the Kremlin said. Looking on with his grandson, this man told me Я не верю, я знаю. Victory will come. It cannot be otherwise. This woman saying the victory of 1945 will be repeated in 2022. That is President Putin's message too, following the parade, laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. And so far, polls suggest the majority of his people appear to support him.
Also this morning, the pain being felt by Americans at the gas pump is growing deeper. Prices climbing even higher overnight, inching closer to an all-time record with the busy summer travel season fast approaching. NBC's Morgan Chesky is in Dallas for us. Hey, Morgan, good morning.
Hey, Hoda, good morning from Texas. Hard to believe we are just one of 9 states nationwide where the average for a gallon of gas still below $4. But experts say prices across the nation only expected to rise, and we could be beating that record price that we set as a nation back in March. And right now, all signs point to one expensive summer travel season.
From the highways to the skyways, the cost of getting where you want to go is once again on the rise, just weeks ahead of Memorial Day.
I don't even look at how many gallons anymore or what their dollar amount is anymore because it's expensive everywhere.
Nationwide, the average price for a gallon of regular is around $4.33, up 14 cents just in the last week alone, and $1.37 higher than this time last year. 22 states and Washington, D.C. have had even bigger jumps. In Michigan, the price soaring 27 cents in a single week.
The prices are pretty high. Actually, we haven't cut down on driving at all. It's, I mean, I got to get to work, and there's a couple things I got to do with, got to do things with the kids to keep them busy.
But that's not the case for most people. 2/3 of people in a recent Yahoo survey said they've made or will make significant changes to their driving habits if prices remain between $4.12 and $4.35. For others, that threshold would be $5 a gallon.
I still think that $5 is improbable, but it's not impossible.
And it's not just regular gas. Jet fuel and diesel are soaring too. Nationwide, a gallon of diesel is $5.54, $2.43 higher than this time last year. A harsh reality for Rafael Mestre, whose company has 20 trucks.
Normally, I used to put $2,000 in diesel, and now I got to put $5,000.
Experts say a diesel shortage, coupled with the highest inflation we've seen in decades, could mean higher costs across the board for many products.
Everything in this economy that you buy at a store arrives there via a semi-truck. And keep in mind, the surge in diesel prices has been so recent that many of those costs have not yet filtered down to what you pay.
And experts say with that surge in diesel prices expected, it's really expected to hit families planning to travel by RV hard this summer. Experts say 2 key factors that could play a big role: Russia's war in Ukraine and hurricane season, which is already just around the corner.
Wow.
Hoda?
All right, Morgan Chesky for us there in Dallas, Texas. Morgan, thank you.
Our world is facing some complex issues. Chuck Todd breaks them down. Every Thursday, a deep dive into a new subject.
Instead of trying to cover a lot of topics in one episode, we're going to focus on one and take a deeper look at how it impacts America.
Exploring and explaining the critical stories that affect our future. Meet the Press Reports. Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. Streaming on NBC News Now and on demand next day on Peacock. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, we're back with a closer look at that stunning upset at the Kentucky Derby.
We've been talking about this all morning. Rich Strike shocked the world, winning the coveted first leg of the Triple Crown despite having the longest odds in the race.
We will talk to his trainer in just a moment, but first, NBC's Jesse Kirsch joins us with more. Jesse, good morning.
Guys, good morning. Every time I watch that replay, I get chills. Rich Strike's win one of the biggest upsets in Kentucky Derby history, and he did it with help from a jockey who spent a good amount of time at tracks in Ohio, including this one where they're training right now. But on Saturday, all eyes, all the magic pointing to the special place in Kentucky, Churchill Downs.
Rich Strike is coming up on the inside.
At 80-1 odds, barely anyone gave Rich Strike a shot.
Oh my goodness, the longest shot has won the Kentucky Derby.
But this morning, the 3-year-old colt smelling the roses after racing into history.
I fell down the paddock when he hit the wire. I about passed out. I'm so happy.
Can you explain that?
This is something that, is the reason everybody does this.
Rich Strike's improbable win all the more exhilarating because it wasn't just an upset, but a comeback too. Watch the overhead replay. In the final stretch, he went from 15th place to 1st, just in time to win the most exciting 2 minutes in sports.
We just knew that we had a shot because every time he went longer, he got better.
And became a major moneymaker for anyone betting on the literal dark horse. A $2 bet paying over $160.
This is where it happened, right here.
Right here.
In Youngstown, Ohio, Mark Butch bet $50 each on Rich Strike to win, place, and show. He made more than $6,000 thanks to a hunch to bet on Rich Strike's jockey.
2 words, Sonny Leone.
Just one part of the astonishing story behind the horse's remarkable run to victory.
In a stunning, unbelievable upset.
Rich Strike riding high, seeming to nip at a pony after the race.
Hey!
He wasn't even supposed to be in the race until there was a last-minute vacancy on Friday. Rich Strike had only won once before and was coming off a 5-race losing streak into the Derby. It's the second biggest upset in Kentucky Derby history, the biggest in more than a century. Trainer Eric Reed and his father soaking it all in after the race.
Your son is a Kentucky Derby winning trainer. How does that feel for you?
Unbelievable. I can't explain it. It's unreal.
All of this from a horse that was purchased last June for all of $30,000. You can imagine he's probably worth a little bit more now, and he's got a shot to win the Triple Crown. A real-life underdog story about an actual dark horse. Willie and Hoda, back to you. Still cannot believe it out here.
We love the horse, we love the trainer, we love the jockey, but we really love Dad. I think. What a great moment.
Dad does take the cake.
Jesse, thank you.
All right, joining us now is one of the guys behind Rich Strike's success, trainer Eric Reed. Hey, Eric, we heard you say that you practically passed out when your horse won. We're wondering how you're feeling this morning.
I'm full of life this morning.
I bet you are, Eric. Congratulations. You guys were very confident after the race. You said we wouldn't put a horse in this race that we didn't think could win the Kentucky Derby. But now with a couple of days distance, come clean with us. The horse before the race, an hour before, was 99-1, 80-1 at post time. Did you really think Rich Strike could win the Kentucky Derby?
We thought he would run really good. Nobody thought we would win, but we had said earlier in the day, we know the horse and the paper and the numbers and the form. I can see him being 80-1. But the public doesn't know much about us. They gave us no recognition. They didn't watch him train. His workout was the best of anybody that worked for the Derby at Churchill that week. And his last 2 races, he had finished so fast and ran by everybody in the race. So we knew the extra distance and the longer stretch. And this horse had already won by 18 lengths at that track. So in our minds, we thought if he could find his way through the 17 or 18 horses he had to pass, he could win. And I have some guys that were with me that made $60,000, $70,000 off their bets. So we had absolutely thought we could win.
Wow. Well, Eric, that's pretty amazing. Watching him weave his way through that field of horses was just magic. Was there a point in the race where you're like, I think we have this, because he looked so far behind through most of it?
Well, I saw him going into the final turn, start to move into the contention, and I thought, well, this is not a bad spot. And I knew that's where all the traffic jam was going to take place. And that's why I rode Sonny, because Sonny knows his horse, and he knew exactly how the horse wants to run. And I lost him right in the middle of the turn. He got in that big group of horses, and a friend of mine, Ken Tyson, was beside me, and my dad was in front of me. And I said, Kenny, I can't find him. Where is he? And that's about the time it got to the top of the stretch. And he goes, he just dropped to the rail. You're 5th.
Wow.
And I saw him, and I'm looking, and I said, "Oh my God, Dad!" I said, "We might hit the board." And in the middle of the stretch, when he passed Messier, I hear Ken Tyson going, "Oh my God, oh my God!" And about the second time he said it, he put his head in front, and I grabbed my father. I said, "Oh, Dad, we're going to win the Derby." And I don't remember hitting the wire because I went down and they jumped on me like I scored the winning touchdown of Super Bowl. So.
Well, you did, basically.
Yeah,
you really did. And what a ride by your jockey, Sonny Leon. You could almost see a moment from that view above where he decided, hey, let's go win the Kentucky Derby. You mentioned your dad. We've been talking about your own personal journey. You've been a trainer for 40 years, your dad, Herbert, for 60 years. You can see all that emotion after the race. And you've been through a lot even recently, Eric. You had the fire at your farm. I think it was about 6 years ago where you lost some of those horses you loved and you weren't sure that you'd continue in horse racing to be a trainer. How much more did that moment on Saturday mean because of all you've been through?
It meant everything. You know, we have had a rough 6 years. We had the barn fire, which was probably the most horrific, tragic thing I'd seen at that point. I had two of my best friends, assistant trainers, pass away of cancer a year and a half ago. My grandson was killed in a tragic accident. The only thing that kept us going was these horses and the love and that everybody gave us. And, you know, man, Richie's America's horses. I keep getting all these texts and emails. You know, he's not Richie. He's America's horse. So he's brought us out of a really dark time.
Wow, Richie was something to watch. What a beautiful ending. There was a moment when the race was over, Eric, where they were describing him as feisty. He was kind of nipping at a pony, and people didn't quite know what to make of what was happening. It looked like someone was punching him off. What was going on there?
I'm glad you asked because I want to clear that up. The outrider's job at the end of the race is to help get the leading horse and get him slowed down and take him around, let him do the interviews. Well, Richie, he was in killer mode. He was going to outrun every horse on the track, and he had not had a horse after the finish line come over to him. So when he saw that pony coming his way, he thought he had another horse to beat, and he was trying to run by it. And the man did his job. He reached out and grabbed a hold of the horse, and it made the horse mad. He didn't know that he was trying to help him. He thought he was supposed to outrun that horse, and he bit the guy's leg terribly. Bit his arm a couple of really bad bites. The horse is not a mean horse. He just was in the race mode, and he didn't understand why they were grabbing him to slow him down. That man saved my horse from injury because had he got up in the air and lost my rider, he could have got loose. I'm sorry for the injuries he sustained.
Wow, okay.
That's important.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah, we didn't know all that. Well, congratulations, Eric. I assume it's on to the Preakness for you. We can't wait to watch. You are right. Rich Strike is America's horse. Don't forget, you can catch the Preakness Stakes, the next leg of the Triple Crown, Saturday, May 21st, here on NBC and on Peacock.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world, because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
NBC News, streaming free now.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
This morning in our series, AAPI Amplified, Stronger Together, a little told piece of Chinese immigrant history coming to light in a breathtaking piece, in a place, I should say, Yosemite National Park. NBC correspondent Richard Louie is here to share it. I hear this is beautiful. Good morning.
Hey, Richard.
It is beautiful. Good morning to all. Good morning to you, Chanel, Dylan, and Al. Everything about Yosemite is daunting when it comes to navigating its peaks and valleys, and those breathtaking landscapes were made accessible by Chinese workers even before Yosemite officially became a park. And there's one park ranger who is keeping their memory and their contributions alive.
I started working here because I really wanted to learn more about the environment, to share this place with people. So to stumble upon this research and to realize this story hadn't been told for so long, it just seemed like this great opportunity to really shed light on something that I think is really important.
Yen Chan is a Chinese-American ranger at Yosemite National Park, a place she has loved since she was an intern here in 1993.
Why didn't I know about this history? I was born and raised in San Francisco, used to come to Yosemite. And
I didn't know about it either, and I grew up in Los Angeles.
From logging to roads to railroads, in laundries, kitchens, and hotels, thousands of Chinese immigrants were the essential workers here in the late 19th century.
So Yen, this is really quite amazing. People have been driving by here for decades, and then there's this jewel. What is it?
This is the original Chinese laundry building built in 1917, and it was the laundry for the Wawona Hotel.
And how did you find it?
It wasn't used as a laundry, it was used as a storage shed for a long time.
Fully restored last year, the laundry building is just one part of the park's larger history that Yen helps to preserve.
30 years ago almost, I was an intern, and that's when I first heard that Chinese were responsible for building this incredible road through the High Sierra that connects people across this mountain.
Another main road still used today is a 23-mile stretch that 300 Chinese workers started in 1874 in the dead of winter with nothing more than hand picks, wheelbarrows, and shovels. It was completed in less than 5 months and leads here to this hotel, the oldest in the park.
Part of our mission at the National Park Service is to tell both the natural and the cultural history of this country. And not all these stories are pretty or beautiful.
Fleeing poverty and environmental disasters in China, workers arrived in America during the gold rush, but life did not always pan out as they hoped.
They faced so much discrimination while they were here. The Chinese were one of the main targets of these really racist laws. They weren't allowed to become citizens, and there was a period of time when they couldn't testify in the court system. And women were also excluded to a large degree, so that also made it hard for the Chinese here to start families.
Despite all the hardships, the workers also contributed their extraordinary culinary skills to the park. One chef, Tai Sing, cooked in the backcountry in 1915 for officials who came to Yosemite to determine if National Park should receive government funds.
He made their experience so memorable that these people went out, campaigned, and convinced Congress within a year to form the National Park Service. This is the back porch of the Wawona Hotel's kitchen, and Ayu would often sit back here in a chair.
Another beloved Yosemite chef was Ayu, who was head chef at the Wawona for 47 years.
What do we know about Ayu?
He was so revered in the kitchen.
We're talking about the first farm-to-table chefs of at least that era.
Actually, the Chinese were responsible for a lot of the fresh vegetables and fruits grown here.
Yen's research is drawing visitors to the park. We were even stopped by a fan who asked for her autograph.
Thank you so much.
I think all Asian Americans and Americans should think about this story and be proud of the contributions that they did here. And the fact that we have this national park, it's in many ways due to their hard work in making this place accessible to the public and making the story of Yosemite widespread.
NBC News, streaming free now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. Love it.
After 6 heartwarming and tear-jerking seasons, the beloved show This Is Us is coming to an end.
Yeah. Oh, can we get some tissues? Pass them over.
We need them.
You need them. All right, this all-star cast, as you know, includes Mandy Moore, who played the matriarch, Rebecca Pearson. But don't worry, all you Mandy fans, you're going to be hearing and seeing a lot of Mandy soon.
Yeah, she's out with a brand new album. It's just beautiful. It's called In Real Life. And she's headed out on tour, so I feel like there's going to be a lot of people coming
right
just to be in your
closure.
presence.
They want more of Mandy.
I will give them some musical catharsis.
I was going to say.
We have so many cool things to talk about, but Jen and I are just oohing and gooing over your little baby.
Aww.
I mean, how old is he?
14 months.
14 months?
Yeah.
What is motherhood at this stage like for you?
I mean, he's walking and talking. You guys remember it well. He's such a happy, sweet guy. He's like a mini version of my husband in every
He
way.
really is.
He looks like
just
him,
like
but he
him.
has the same personality. He's the best.
Okay.
I can tell it's so moving, just even seeing pictures of that little guy.
Yeah, he's just
wow.
So much fun.
And how is being a mom? I mean, you play this very famous matriarch who, like, This Is Us. It's going to be one of those classics.
Yeah.
And you are the lead role. So how did becoming a mom yourself change everything for you?
It's changed everything on a cellular level. I feel like I want to go back to the beginning of the series now and like completely redo it. Well, because I'm like, I have some just inkling of what it means to be a parent now, and I was faking it. You know, before it's so strange.
Well,
the best.
you play that role so beautifully. We know it. Sterling K. Brown knows it. Sterling K. Brown is on a mission for you. Okay,
a one-man campaign.
A one-man campaign. Well, it's probably a lot of people who get on board.
It's spread.
But let's just take a look at him. He wants you to get that Emmy. Take a look.
I want anybody who votes in the Academy, okay? Anybody who's got a say in what happens, the tastemakers, et cetera, Mandy Moore is killing the game, son. Y'all know Mandy Moore is 8 years younger than me. And she played my mama. The beautifully subtle, nuanced work and the portrayal of someone going through what her character's going through. It's just exquisite, man.
Oh, I love my friend. You know what? We are such a family unit, and we have been from the very beginning. God, I love him. I'm gonna cry just thinking, like, I miss my friends, my family already, but I think we are all each other's biggest champions. Like, the fact that we've done 6 seasons, 106 episodes together, and I think we all collectively feel like, wow, the quality of the work never wavered, and we're just proud of each other. We support each other. He's the best.
I mean, I was going to say, I think that should be an example of what true friendship looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
But also, can we just add to that we also think anybody voting for the Emmy
we agree 100.
should take a vote.
I remember after you had one scene, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but he started a round of applause for you because it was so moving to him in that moment. So all that love, I was just thinking about saying goodbye, like knowing that this is the final season, knowing that when you said goodbye,
Yeah.
You weren't coming back after summer break kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think we were just talking about it. I've fully processed it yet. Like, I get emotional thinking about it. It was probably more emotional being on set for a lot of the my other friends last day. Like, I was there for Susan and for Chris Sullivan. Sterling and Chrissy and Justin shot after the next day, but Milo and I wrapped together, and Chrissy, Susan, and Sterling all stayed around, a couple hours after they were done with work to watch Milo and I wrap. Like, that's how we feel about one another. It's very emotional.
How do you feel that space? That's a big space to fill.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm gonna fill it, but I'm curious to figure that out. I don't have anything planned right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on tour, but that feels like that's a fun, cathartic experience, and I'll be able to hopefully process everything that I've just lived for the last 6 years. But work-wise, on that other side of my life, I don't really have anything planned. I'm excited to be mom for a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think not rushing is so smart. We showed, there's a picture of you. We played Candy as our opening song, which I feel like we're similar age.
Yeah.
How old are you?
38.
Okay, I'm 40. So I listened to this song.
Oh my gosh.
As a teen.
Yeah.
And to watch your evolution, your music is different.
Yeah.
What does it feel like to come into to this age of you?
I mean, to have been doing this for 23 years now, to still have a career to speak of, to me is that kind of longevity is something I never could have imagined for myself. But yeah, I mean, I started out as a pop star back in the late 90s, where that was the thing. And I had no creative control. I didn't write my music. So now to jump forward 2 decades and being in the driver's seat of what I'm saying and how it's sort of presented to the world is everything.
And we have to say, there's only 3 episodes left of This Is Us. I don't know how those words really hurt when they come out. So tune in tomorrow at 9, 8 Central, right here on NBC.
Why don't you come back tomorrow? We got another big show on today.
We will see you then. Have a great Monday, guys.
Bye.
Oh, today all day, summer's officially here, so get outside, do something fun. Up next, Sama Dada is sharing the ultimate menu for a perfect picnic party in the park.
This is sort of like playing with Play-Doh, but it tastes good and it's edible. Play-Doh is not edible, I don't think. Play-Doh is edible? No. Why? There's no way. I just learned that Play-Doh is edible. Don't eat it, though. That's disgusting. Just eat these instead. In the summer months especially, it's really nice to get outside and take advantage of your local parks. And listen, I am your dream picnic guest because I never come without the most important thing, food. So I'm going to show you how to make 2 of my favorite recipes for your next #picnic party, my easy homemade turmeric hummus, and my favorite spiced chickpea burgers with a delicious red pepper sauce. Some may say it's sacrilegious to make hummus with canned chickpeas, but you know what? Convenience is a gorgeous thing, and you can still get a really delicious result with the canned chickpeas that have been sort of hibernating at the back of your pantry for quite some time. If you're freaked out at all by making hummus at home, just don't be, because you know what? All you need to make it is a blender. So let's start. Starting with my canned chickpeas, adding these straight to the blender. They're so cute. I'm gonna go ahead and add my tahini. You cannot have hummus without tahini. It is like peanut butter and jelly, you know what I mean? So don't forget it. You just simply can't have hummus without it. It makes it nice and earthy and creamy and flavorful. Okay. You've got those really savory flavors from that tahini, from the chickpeas, so now we need a little bit of tartness, and that's where our lemon juice comes in. Just gonna roll the lemon to release some of that juice. Lemon juice going straight in my blender. It's gonna make this hummus really bright and zingy. I will warn you, once you learn how to make this hummus at home, you may never go back to store-bought. I'm sorry, but I'm just not sorry. Perfect. Lemon is done. Now I'm gonna add in my garlic. I like using raw garlic here because it has a really punchy, flavorful taste, and we want all of that flavor in this hummus. Here's where we really spice it up, okay? We're gonna add my 3 favorite spices. I'm adding some cumin. Adding some paprika for a little hint of smoke and spice. And what would this turmeric hummus be without turmeric? It doesn't make sense. So I'm adding my turmeric in. Another reason I wanted to make a turmeric hummus is because of that gorgeous yellow color. So that's really gonna give that hummus that bright pop. It's gonna look really good on your table, I promise. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of salt and some freshly ground black pepper. Now I'm just gonna blend. In order to get this hummus super smooth, we're gonna add a little bit of water, tablespoon by tablespoon, until it reaches our desired consistency. For me, that's very smooth and velvety and luxurious. Starting with just a bit. The trick with this hummus to get it super velvety smooth is when you reach your desired consistency, blend it for an extra 3 or 4 more times. That's gonna make it even more smooth. Like, look at that. I really cannot wait. Let me just adjust to taste. See if it needs anything. I mean, come on. It's perfect. I'm gonna add the hummus into my bowl. Have you ever seen anything this smooth in your life? No, right? Okay. Now, let me show you how to adorn this hummus. I'm gonna smooth it out. I created a little swoosh so that the olive oil and spices have a little home. Drizzle some olive oil on top. Sprinkling with a little bit of za'atar. If you don't know what za'atar is, it's a Middle Eastern spice blend with sumac, sesame seeds, and another host of spices. It's so good. If you don't have za'atar, don't worry, you can totally omit it, but I think it tastes amazing with it. I'm gonna add a touch of paprika just for a little color. This works as a nice contrast to that bright yellow that the turmeric gives this hummus. I mean, look at how pretty that is, right? But we're not done yet. I have this gorgeous platter of fresh vegetables here, and I'm just gonna cut them and adorn them around my hummus. If you don't feel like slicing your veggies yourself, no worries. You can buy it pre-cut. I've got some time on my hands. I mean, this is art. Monet? Is that you? It's me. I think I made a masterpiece. I'm not trying to be conceited, but like, are we all looking at the same thing here? Doesn't this make you want to be one of my picnic guests? Maybe? So pretty. Need to take a picture. My phone really does eat first. I know that's cliche, but it's true. Oh my God, I was immediately taken aback by how pretty this looked. I cracked myself up. I'm taking like 20,000 pictures. I think 12 would have been fine, but okay. I think I got the shot. Can confidently say I got the shot. I'm gearing up. Okay. This is the most both exciting and tragic part of making hummus, is that part where you ruin the art. But it's okay. This is what it's for. Okay, I'm going in. Did that make you all feel things? Because I just felt really emotional. Okay, ready to taste. It's so good. Something so flavorful paired with a simple, crisp vegetable, just like, these vegetables just got a glow up. Thanks to this hummus, it's art. It's art. No picnic would be complete without a sandwich, so I'm gonna show you how to make my favorite chickpea burger with a red pepper sauce. I'm gonna go grab the ingredients.
Sometimes the news can be difficult and overwhelming for kids to understand.
Ukraine and Russia. Could you help me understand what's going on?
So to help make sense of it, we've created a newscast just for them. We hope your family will watch Nightly News Kids Edition. We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Today. Future's looking bright.
You got a whole restart. How does that land with you?
Is climate change and the environment one of your top priorities?
Sounds so good. Love it.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
To turn your favorite hummus into my red pepper special sauce, first cut 2 peppers in half and de-seed them. Then roast the red peppers at 450 degrees for about 25 minutes. After removing the peppers from the oven, they'll need to be steamed for 10 to 15 minutes. You can do this by inverting a glass bowl over the peppers onto a cutting board. Sealing the peppers creates steam, making it easier for the skins to peel right off. Remove the pepper peels and discard. Yep, they're a little slippery. Roughly chop the red peppers into large pieces. Add 2 cups of your favorite hummus to a high-speed blender. Homemade or store-bought will do just fine. Now, drop in your roasted red peppers. Blend the mixture until it's well combined and super smooth. Now, this special sauce is ready to be spread on anything your heart desires.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
News is happening now.
Look at what's making headlines around the world.
Right now on Morning News Now.
We're coming on the air with breaking news.
And this is a significant moment.
Whenever it happens, wherever you are, NBC News, streaming free now.
This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
Having a good veggie burger recipe in your back pocket is sort of like having your best friend on speed dial. It's pretty useful. And I don't know if people are really using speed dial anymore, but you get the point. My chickpea burgers are deliciously spiced, they're super hearty, and they're perfect for when you want something substantial that still happens to be plant-based. First things first, I want this burger to have a lot of complex layers of flavor, so I'm gonna saute some onion and garlic to put in it. Just gonna dice my red onion. I'm only using half here. I'm using a red onion here because I really like that it adds that nice sweetness. It's gonna be so good in this veggie burger. Also, aesthetically speaking, I know it's what's on the inside that counts, but aesthetically speaking, these red onions are really pretty. That purpley red, we love it. Red onions are diced. I'm now gonna mince my garlic. Great way to mince garlic. All you're gonna do is take your clove, use the flat edge of your knife, get some of your aggression out, and then start mincing. I'm gonna do this with all of the rest of my cloves. Garlic, it's our friend, okay? You may smell like garlic for 3 days after cooking with it, but it's worth it. It's worth the price you have to pay. We wanna extract all of that garlicky flavor. It's so good. And we're mincing it really finely so that we can get out all of that flavor, all of that aroma, all of that garlic perfume that will plague you for the next 3 days. All right. Now I'm gonna heat my pan and add some olive oil. My oil is shimmering, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add my onions. Got some resistant ones in here. Don't worry, you're gonna become a burger. Something to celebrate. All right. We want these onions to be tender, translucent, starting to brown around the edges. When we get a little bit of that caramelization, it's gonna impart so much flavor onto these burgers. And you might be wondering, why didn't we add the garlic with the onions? But we can't do that because the garlic takes a lot less time to cook, so if we added with the onions, it would burn. And that's not cute. My onions look perfect. They're nice and golden brown around the edges. They're tender, translucent, which means it's time for the garlic. Okay. Doesn't need too much time to become a little brown, about 2 minutes. Don't forget, and I'm reminding you here, to season with salt and pepper. Flavor is our friend. We always want more of it. Okay, this looks amazing. The garlic is nice and golden, it's got some color. I'm gonna set this aside to cool and then get to work on the base of my burger. For the base of this burger, I'm starting with some cashews. I know that sounds crazy, but cashews are buttery and delicious. They really allow this veggie burger to be hearty and meaty without any actual meat. So I'm gonna add that into my food processor. I'm using raw cashews here, unsalted, completely raw. This is important. All I'm gonna do is process these cashews into a nice fine powder, kind of like a flour. Looks pretty good. All right, this looks perfect. Let me just show you the texture real quick. It's sort of like this nice flour, you can see. It's gonna be a really hearty base for this burger. Okay, cashews are done. Now we're gonna move on to the rest of my ingredients. Now I'm gonna add some flaxseed meal. This is gonna be really great as a binder for these burgers. It's sort of like a vegan replacement for an egg. Okay, looking cozy in there. And because I can't live my life without any spice, it just simply is not possible, I'm gonna add my spices. Starting with a little paprika. And just know, these spices aren't gonna make it spicy, right? It's gonna be flavorful, it's gonna add a lot of body and taste. That's what we like. A little bit of turmeric. Yum. Some cumin. And finally, some coriander. This is a chickpea burger, so we gotta add our chickpeas. These are just drained. And now we're gonna process. It's okay if this mixture isn't fully pulverized. It's kind of nice to have a little bit of that chickpea texture, so don't sweat it if you've got a little chickpea hanging out in there. Now I'm just gonna add some olive oil, and then remember my onions and garlic from earlier? These are going in there as well. A little olive oil. And then my onions and garlic. Perfect. Okay, you probably guessed this, but we're gonna process one more time. My mixture is looking amazing. Gonna transfer it to a bowl. Just transferred my patty mixture into my bowl, and you'll notice it's kind of thick and sticky, which is great because then we'll be able to form it into patties really nicely. Because I want this to have a little bit of zest, a little bit of something herby, I'm just gonna add some cilantro in here. You can totally use parsley if cilantro freaks you out. I won't judge you. I'm just gonna roughly tear them. I like those big pieces of herbs, but if you want it smaller, you can totally chop it. Okay. Mix that in. And now we're ready to form them into patties. A couple of things I want to do before I form these into patties. First, remove all my rings. Because I wear like 12,000. And now I'm going to oil my hands just to make sure that nothing sticks to them. Just a little on here. Just a little. Using extra virgin olive oil. I think you're moisturizing your hands, but you're really just prepping to make your burgers. Okay, here we go. It's very fun, very therapeutic, and look how well this sticks together. So I'm gonna form these into like a little ball at first, and then I'll flatten them out into patties. You can really make these as big or as small as you'd like. I'm going for like a major burger situation, but you can also make little small burgers as well if you want little bite-sized snacks, if you want to throw them on a salad. They're very versatile. See how virtually nothing is sticking to my hands? You can thank the extra virgin olive oil for that. You've got a lot of really hearty elements in this burger, the cashews, the chickpeas. It allows it to stick together, but also allows you to feel really satiated. It's really delicious and just a really great way to eat a veggie burger. That's exciting. I'm gonna put these in the oven at 375 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. Make sure you flip them once halfway through baking. And if you don't wanna eat them now, don't worry, you can freeze them for another day. They're perfect for meal prep.
NBC News, streaming free now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
We're here to start conversations about the big things happening in our world because it's not my job to tell you what to think. My job is to think about what you tell me.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. These are families trying to board those trains to Poland.
I also want to get home.
You'll get home.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
I mean, is this a joke? Look at this. That crisp golden exterior? It looks so beautiful. If you did want it to be a little more crisp on the outside, feel free to sear them. But to me, this looks perfect. It's time to assemble my burger. I'm very excited. I've got my bun, got my tomatoes, my lettuce, and I have a little red pepper special sauce to go in the burger as well. So I'm gonna go for it. Got my bun. I like a lot of sauce, so I'm gonna go ahead and be generous here. This is gonna add more flavor, a little bite, and some nice color too. I'm gonna spread both sides of the burger, both buns, here as well. The red pepper sauce is like tangy, a little sweet. These are roasted red peppers. Okay. Now for my star, go ahead and add one of my burgers. Straight onto my bun. It's like it was meant to be there. It's almost upsetting how perfect it looks on that burger bun. Okay. Gonna add a little fresh tomato. And some lettuce for some greens in my life. Okay, time for that other bun. I mean, come on, look at that. Doesn't that look good? Look at the colors. I gotta take a picture. Doesn't it look good? Okay. Oh my God, look at that. All of those layers of flavor. That looks really good. Okay, is it time? I'm nervous I'm not gonna eat this in a cute way at all, but I guess it really doesn't matter. Okay, here I go. I'm gonna go from this side. This seems more approachable to me. Okay, here we go. I mean, this chickpea burger is so well spiced, so well seasoned. I think I need another bite. It seems like I must take another bite. Okay. It's just simply not right. It's simply not right how good it is. That red pepper special sauce, though, ties everything together. See, this is why I'm everyone's favorite picnic guest. I do stuff like this, and then they always invite me again. You can be that person too. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. Okay, I'm going in. Someone has to stop me. Someone has to stop me. I'm gonna keep eating this. No one's gonna stop me? Okay. All right. Going to Central Park is one of my favorite things to do in New York. It's the perfect place for a picnic party. I invited my sister and my best friend for a little afternoon lunch. Hey. Come on. Okay guys, look at my crudité prata.
Yeah, I'm eyeballing it.
I cannot live my life without hummus, and I love bringing it to a picnic because it's easy to pack and snack on. We love a fresh veg.
And
yeah, hummus is so good. What do you think?
Hummus is so good.
My chickpea burger is one of my favorite plant-based meals. It's hearty and comforting, plus it's great hot or room temp. Oh, I like that you're taking photos. That makes me happy. Are you contemplating? Okay, cheers. 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 Cheers.
It looks like Shake Shack, honestly.
It looks like Shake Shack. It's nice. Okay.
Doesn't it? This looks fake. It's like a Krabby Patty.
There's nothing I love more than sharing my food with the people that I love, and a picnic is a great place to do it.
Let's do it. Okay.
Good morning. Breaking overnight on display in an attempted show of force to the world, Vladimir Putin front and center at Russia's annual Victory Day parade. Delivering a message to the West while the devastating war in Ukraine rages on. Dozens feared dead after an air